What up, what up, what up, sports fans all over the world? It's your boy right here, Mac the Giants fans. I got my guys, the Horsemen. It's time to ride again. NYG Jeffy T, Zion Zenith, Adam Costas. This is the Premium Takes Podcast. Let's go! Good afternoon,
Let's get it.
everyone.
Let's go.
Welcome to the Premium Takes Podcast with my guys, the Four Horsemen, man. The Four Horsemen of YouTube. We are riding again, man. How y'all fellas doing this afternoon?
We're mad good. Let's go.
Woo!
Yo, let us talk to ya. Let's go.
Let's get it. It's been a long hiatus, guys, but guess what? Premium Takes is back in your life on a Sunday. You know, we have a lot of things to talk about today, so we're glad to be back. Let's just get right into it. Go ahead, Mac, and take it over.
Got anything real quick, Adam, man, while we just jumping in here?
First off, I'd like to say thanks to all you guys for coming back and doing this podcast. I know the fans out there were calling for it. We were calling for it. We're back. We're finally here, and I'm so excited to be a part of this with you guys. I've talked to you guys on different levels, and so I'm really excited and honored that we can do this again. So
Absolutely.
Let's do it, man. We're going to get right to it, man. We're going to just talk about this NFL news, man. Ongoing NFL news as we approach the official free agency period, man. Tuesday's the franchise tag limit, and us as New York Giant fans obviously know this is going to be an important day for us as things don't seem to be right now working out quite as the way we wanted to, you know. So get y'all opinions, fellas, man. Let's go around the panel, man.
Go ahead, Jeff.
How do I feel about this whole situation? It's annoying as hell. We're all sick and tired of talking about it. Daniel Jones. I have no problem with Daniel Jones is asking for the type of money that he's asking for. Why wouldn't you if you're a businessman right now? You're going to want to ask for top dollar money, especially when you switch from one agency to another. Do I blame Joe Shane for asking, probably settling down on the type of numbers he believes Daniel Jones is? No, I don't. It's a negotiation process right now between both sides. Daniel Jones is asking for his amount that he's asking for, whether you believe it or not. He's asking for right now 45 plus mil. Shane, I believe, values him at around around $40 million a year quarterback. It's a process that's going to continue to play out. And obviously, this whole resolution, when we get to Tuesday, is going to affect how it's going to happen with Saquon Barkley. I doubt they're going to try to come to a long-term agreement because we know how the running back position is valued now in the NFL. That you can go into the draft and you could find yourself a running back anywhere in the middle of the draft that could come in and be able to give you serviceable numbers if you have a good offensive line and a good scheme for your running back and an offense. So at this point, you just got to let the process play out. Let's see where each side comes to when we get towards Tuesday, because we might see one side get a little nervous and maybe an agreement comes together. But either way, Jones is going to be back as the quarterback. Nobody think he's not. He's going to be the quarterback in 2023, whether it's on the tag or it's on a deal. So let's just let the process play out and see what happens by the time we get to March 7th on Tuesday. Adam, Zion, take it away.
I'll probably go and then I'll let Adam finish it off. The way I look at it is Daniel Jones wants $45 million. I'm not going to echo exactly what Jeff said. You guys heard Jeff. The way I look at it is Daniel Jones. If you want $40 million, if you want over $40 million, obviously, for me, if I was the GM, you're not getting close to $40 million. I don't think that you have proven to be worth the $40 million. The reason why I say that is because, yes, I know that it is a team game, but it also comes down to the position. And at the position that you're at quarterback and you want that kind of money, you have yet to proven to be a quarterback to earn that kind of money. When you look at his full resume and you not just look at last season, and even if you put a highlight on last season, I know stats can lie, and I know he does win us games, and it's all about the wins. We want wins. But if you look at it, 15 touchdowns, 5 interceptions, 708 yards, 7 rushing touchdowns, and then a little bit over 300 yards, 3,000 yards passing. You know, if you look at this day and age, and it's coming to a passing league, if we're ever gonna make a push at where we want to be, we are gonna need a quarterback to really be able to not really fully put his team on the back. But if you look at the definition of a franchise quarterback, it gets thrown around easily how Daniel Jones is a franchise quarterback. Is he a franchise quarterback? I'm not trying to start a debate here. All I'm trying to say is Jeff is right. One way or another, Daniel Jones is going to probably be on the roster based on our draft position, the way we pick. Now, people out there, like AR-15 is blowing out the underwear Olympics and putting up all these good stats. But how does that translate to the football field? Now, AR-15 might even actually move his draft stock all the way up to top 15. You got Will Levis moving his draft stock up again. So we might have 4 quarterbacks taken in the top 20 picks. Then by the time the Giants pick, we might, if people are out there who really say like they don't like Daniel Jones and they're really looking to get a quarterback at this draft, we can draft a quarterback, but it's not going to probably be a day one starter. So hence is Jeff's point. If we do end up franchising, if we can't get to an agreement with Daniel Jones and we end up we'll probably end up franchising, tagging him, because I don't see a quarterback unless we do a massive trade up to get one of these top 4 quarterbacks to be a day one quarterback. So even if we're not comfortable with the agreement with the number, I can still see Daniel Jones on this roster. Now, to finish off my point, Daniel Jones, the way I look at it is Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers demands that kind of money. Aaron Rodgers deserves that kind of money because his resume demands that kind of money. Aaron Rodgers without receivers last year with a defeated offense still true for 3,900 yards, 26 touchdowns, and I think 12 interceptions or like that. So his numbers are still showing that, hey, Aaron Rodgers is that kind of quarterback. He averages this kind of numbers. Daniel Jones hasn't averaged good numbers yet. It doesn't matter who's around his supporting cast. We've seen quarterbacks out there like Derek Carr have a 4,000-yard season already. We've seen quarterbacks like Mac Jones almost have a 4,000-yard season. We've seen quarterbacks like Matthew Stafford in his second year have a 5,000-yard season. We've seen quarterbacks like Jared Goff have a 4,000-yard season. And then we've seen the top tiers like Joe Burrow and Justin Herbert have multiple 4,000 and Joe Burrow with a 5,000-yard season. So the way I look about it is I want to see Daniel Jones. If you're going to ask for $40 million, if we pay you $40 million next year, you better damn ball out like a $40 million quarterback. If you think about it, if Barkley's not on the field, you want that kind of money, you ball out, because you know who another quarterback that I don't think we're going to get, and I don't really want him because we have to focus on Daniel Jones and our own roster. But you know who also wants to get paid? Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson deserves that kind of money because you know why? If Barkley's not on the field and Lamar Jackson is on the Giants, guess what? We probably win more games than Daniel Jones without Barkley. So that's why I look at it. And to top my point off and to pass it over to Adam, you look at the playoff one, right? We beat a defeated Vikings team that was hot at the beginning of the season, and kind of the defense let them down at the end. You know, we knew what to do to stop them on offense. We handled them on defense. Now when we actually face a really great team, where was Daniel Jones? He was a part of the team in the slump. You know, back when I was growing up, and you guys can talk for this too, New York Giants, man, we could be down by 7 points with 2 minutes left. We knew when Eli Manning got the ball, we had something going. You know, we had something going against good teams. The only team that Daniel Jones really shown, like, oh my God, was against the Colts. Who the hell was the Colts? These Giants fans was getting so fucking excited and sorry for like he just beat the Chiefs. It was a defeated Colts. It was the Colts. That's what average quarterbacks do. Anyway, let me pass my point to Adam. Don't get me wrong.
You just said that the Jones, yeah. The Jones lovers just went nuts after hearing that one.
Adam, what you got to follow that up, man?
Oh, stop.
Adam, real fast. I want Daniel Jones on the roster for a fair price, Daniel. Be realistic. Go right ahead, Adam.
My God. Wow, you made me laugh, man. That was kind of funny. That was really a funny thing because, you know what? Look, watching the Combine reminds me of one thing. We can get a guy if we want to get a guy, okay? We're sitting here saying, oh, we can't get this guy. You can definitely get somebody if you want to make a move. And what Zion brought up is something that I bring up a lot. and everyone knows my stance, so I'm going to try to make it more of an overall arching idea as opposed to trying to dig a guy. All I'm saying is what Zion put out there was Daniel Jones' resume. Daniel Jones has won 1 playoff game and won 9 games for the first time in his career. And now we're going to say, hey, let's give you $40 million for doing your job. My point is this. I don't mind that he's average, but I rather have people know that he's average than try to blow sunshine up my ass and tell me that he's better than average. Because what Zion said is what I've been saying to you guys. He gets paid $40 million. We can't have 3,200 yards and 15 touchdowns and accept that. Now, I know people want to accept that if we win a Super Bowl. Okay, if we go on to win 1 Super Bowl and don't win anything else, was it justified to pay him that $40 million? I mean, come on. I want to be a dynasty here. I want to keep winning. What Eli Manning did for this team was that no matter what his stat line was in the game, when you gave him the ball, you're winning the game. And he was much maligned like Daniel. But in his 4th year, he goes out and he wins the Super Bowl. After that Super Bowl, it changed his life. Now, I'm not saying that Daniel can't be that guy. I don't know if he can be that guy. But to guarantee that he's going to be that guy and then give him money based on projections, I don't think is the right business move. Now, if you want to talk business, let's talk business. If I were Joe Shane, and I hope he's listening, being that we brought Premium Takes back, I know that's probably resonating in the giant locker room right now.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm Joe Shane, turn up your microphone, Joe Shane, while you're sitting on your airplane going back home to New Jersey. Franchise tag him. Tell Daniel, okay, man, we can't pay you $40 million because people realize this is a business. Businesses don't always have money to pay you. That's why people move on to different businesses, different parts of their career. Listen, if you have a job and you've done your job to what they've asked and they say, Daniel, we can only give you this much in your raise, right? And you have a job out there that you know can give you more, right? Well, your job's not going to say, hey, man, screw you. You're an asshole. Go take it. They're going to say, listen, this is the money we can give you. Enjoy that. We want you to come back, but if you can get better options, go get better options. And if you put the franchise tag on him, I guarantee you nobody's giving us 2 first-round picks for Daniel Jones, right? If Lamar Jackson and the Ravens do that, I'd be running to the Ravens right now with 2 first-round picks. Say, here you go, I'll take him off your hands. Because if they were smart, they would give him the $45 million tag, and no one can really match that, and then they can trade him later if they really want to. Daniel hasn't done much. He hasn't done half of what Lamar Jackson's done. He hasn't done half of what Derek Carr has done. Hell, dare I say he hasn't even done half of what Jimmy G has done. Now, you can give me all the accolades. Well, he needs this and he needs that. Well, I get that. And I've played that game with you. And I've given guys within that realm who have those guys the stats, the numbers, the wins. And no matter what I've done, when those players came out of my mouth, boom, you already shut it down, right? So, for example, I'm going to read out some numbers right now for you real quick and see if you wouldn't want this on your team, right? I'm not going to tell you who it is. I'm not going to tell you the player. And we can decipher if those are good numbers. Then when I tell you the player's name, let's see if your mood changes, okay? So, and I'm just going to take a random season because I think this person is within their realm of, I guess you could call him peer. So here's the numbers. We got a guy who played 14 games. He threw for 69% of his passes, 3,700 yards, 24 touchdowns, 10 intercepts, and he had 423 yards rushing and 5 touchdowns. Would we want that on our team? That would be a good year, right, for Daniel? Is that what you were looking at? No one has an answer. No one.
I believe I could be totally wrong, but I believe those are Kyler Murray's numbers. And those
you didn't let me finish the damn.
I'm sorry. When you say those numbers, I'm like, probably talk. Okay, I'm sorry for doing that because I'm not gonna say anything. I'm gonna let Matt talk.
Okay, we're gonna do this.
Okay, let's do it again.
Okay,
right,
different numbers,
Matthew, you go.
Different player, different stats. Okay, here we go. Random ass numbers. Okay. 67% passing, 3,900 yards, 26 touchdowns, and 800
I know that
yards.
is too, but I would want that. To answer the question and do the exercise, when you say 3,900 yards, 26 touchdowns, I just think that's average. Obviously back in maybe 2011, that'd be great numbers, but that's good numbers. That's good numbers, I would say. 26 touchdowns.
Kyler Murray put those numbers up. Okay. Now let me ask you, are those numbers good now with the name I just gave you? Right? Kyler Murray, look at his reputation. People don't like Kyler Murray. But yet when he puts up numbers like that, right, they still don't like him. My point is, he had DeAndre Hopkins. He had this. If you're not getting 4,000 yards from Daniel, I don't want to hear it. He's going to be Kyler Murray. People want Kyler Murray off Arizona. I can read another guy. We can do the same exercise with somebody else. I'm not going to because Zion really buried the lead, so it really didn't really hit home the way I thought it was.
I'm sorry. I apologize.
This is why we probably should talk. But anyways, guys, Zion. My point is that I need to see what Zion said. You need to ball out for 4,000 yards.
Oh, look, here goes. Okay, Tudo put a comment up that resonates the way I feel about it. Other quarterbacks got better O-lines, offensive weapons, and that's a fact. That's a fact. That's not an excuse. It's a fact. DJ ain't perfect, but he played with more enthusiasm compared to other elite quarterbacks. We ain't DJ's advocates, just being real. Like, it's the reality. Like I keep saying, and I've been saying this. His entire 4-year career, he has never had a good offensive line in front of him. He has never had legitimate weapons on the outside to get the ball to. And that's not an excuse. It's a fact. Now, Zion said something earlier when he was talking that stuck with me. We was talking about Aaron Rodgers, and you were saying how Aaron Rodgers still looks like Aaron Rodgers. It took Aaron Rodgers a while to get into a groove this season. He started off struggling with those receivers, all those young receivers, that lack of talent on the outside until he was able to. Now, right, he's Aaron Rodgers. He's a great quarterback, one of the best to ever play in his game. So he was able to weather the storm, figure out a way to make it work. But it took a while. It didn't just come out and he was just Aaron Rodgers from the jump street. We caught him at the right time, obviously, this season when we played him. I'm not going to say we didn't. We caught them at the right time, and we were able to get a W off Aaron Rodgers and the Green Bay Packers. What I'm saying is that shit matters. It matters more than people keep not like. It matters. It matters more than you're letting on. Because I'm not saying Daniel Jones is going to come out and be the next great quarterback in this league. What I'm saying is, can I see this kid have something competent around him? I mean, Saquon Barkley's been there for part of the time, with the injury situation and everything. But let's see him with something, one or the other. Can he have a good offensive line, or can he have at least some decent fucking weapons? Like I said, I use that example with Joe Burrow. Like I said, he has a shitty offensive line. We know that one is as bad as ours, but if not worse. But he also has Jamar Chase, Tyler Boyd, T. Higgins, Joe Mixon. He has guys that can still help him offensively to weather the storm of that bad offensive line. We got a bad offensive line, and we don't have receivers that are necessarily great. We got a bunch of guys that ain't no better than number 3s posing as number 1s. That's what we're dealing with. So it does matter. It has an impact to an extent. And until I see Daniel Jones with something, at least something, I can't just make just a full brash opinion of him. I can say that based off of what we know about him right now,
is he $40 million?
That I'd have a hard time paying him the money he's asking for. Myself personally, I would also have a hard time paying him that money because his resume hasn't said he's earned that kind of money yet. You don't just give it, like you said, you don't just give it to you because we think you might be able to. Unfortunately, it's just the luck of the draw. We haven't seen it.
Street, because that's what we've been saying. And in Costa Street here, what we've been saying is he hasn't earned the right to be called the $40 million quarterback, which you just said. Now, if you want to say that he comes back, that's a different argument. I don't care about that. He's probably earned the right to come back. I'm saying is like this. I get your points about the fact about offensive lines, but how many times are we looking across the league where guys are in and out of the offensive line? Arizona's offensive line is not that great. They had DeAndre Hopkins. He's been in and out of the lineup for the last few years with Arizona. Those numbers are still put up by that guy, right? Still averages. Rodgers didn't have a great offensive line, still figured it out, and was Aaron Rodgers and threw 26 touchdowns. So my point is, where is the basis? Where is the stopping of, he didn't have an offensive line. If he has an offensive line next year and players, and he still puts up 300 yards and 15 touchdowns, and he gets paid $40 million.
What if he doesn't? What if he doesn't? What if he does? What if he does blow it up next year? When he has things in place?
Blowing it up? Between you and me, what is blowing it up? Because me saying blowing it up is 4,000 yards, 26 touchdowns, and you run it all over. You got to give me skeleton Josh Allen numbers, meaning you got to give me a poor man's Josh Allen numbers. Josh Allen's doing that on a consistent basis. Now, I know people are going to say, don't call him Josh Allen. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is you want to be paid $40 million, you better pay. You better play like it's $40 million. I can't have you have 3,500 yards, 15 touchdowns. Ooh, we win 9 games. Great. No, I'm not paying $40 million a year to a guy to give me average numbers. I might as well just take a young guy and see if I can get that out of a young guy.
I look at it too, and like the only reason why, like Daniel, like if you want 35, 37 mil, let's do it. And I get I believe Tudo brought up the point about quarterbacks about to be getting paid 60 due to the fact I get it, like YouTube TV, Sunday Ticket, all these new acquisitions. But then again, I mean, like we have known to in recent years to break the bank for a player and not have it work out, aka Kenny Galladay. You know what I'm saying? So that being said, it's like I'm not comfortable breaking the bank for him. And okay, so but say like we end up signing him. I seen a rumor out there and it broke down, and I want to get you guys' thoughts on that. It's like a multi-year contract. I believe it was like 5 years, where we get away with paying him only $12 million the first year, but we pay him $50 million his 5th year. So it's really back-ended. I think that's better because of the fact that we can restructure. So for the first couple of years, you're only going to get paid $12 million your first year. I believe it was $18 million your second year, $24 million your third year. Then it jumps up to like, I believe it was like $47 million and then $50 million. So by that third year on this new contract, I like that contract the way this guy set it up because of the fact you have 3 years to prove that, hey, by the 4th year, you can be making 45, 49 million and then 50 million. And by that time, yes, the quarterback market will be 60 million. But I don't think the quarterback market is going to jump to 60 million in 2024. I think that's more of 2025, 2026 numbers. And then by that point, Daniel Jones, when you'll be making 45, 50 million a season, that's awesome because you've shown that you have 3 years to prove it, and then we can restructure and maybe we can sign you to a $45-50 million a year quarterback deal in 2027, 2028. But until then, back in the contract
go way up from that by then probably.
Just true, the market's gonna
Joe Burrow.
That's why we restructure. Exactly. That's why we
destroy it.
That's why we restructure and then we pay him bigger money. But that gives us the opportunity to only come in this year on a contract, Daniel Jones on contract, have the money to acquire Barkley, and then even go have the money to fix our interior offensive line, our cornerbacks, our wide receiver, our linebackers, and everything else we need.
I'll throw another one out. That's not to mention, I've been hearing like little rumors and things. The Eagles are looking to possibly make Jalen Hurts the highest paid quarterback in NFL history, which will
the quarterback market will go up.
That it's going to continue to just the balloon. You know what I mean? So
pay the man then, because you know what? I guess because somebody in the stream, unpopular opinion, obviously not happy that we're not happy about paying this guy. Fine, sit there. We're allowed to have our opinion. Isn't that the whole point of the show, to have an opinion? This is what we feel about it. But now we don't agree that this is a $40 million.
Well, you know what? Adam, to defend unpopular, because he's not here to defend himself. Obviously, he can't talk. He's averaging comments, so thank you so much. And when he says here he's 40 averages, he's future dating it, and he's absolutely right. 40 million in 2 to 3 years, or even some people say by next year will be average.
And he's an average player.
Once Justin Herbert breaks the bank. But I think our problem is, at least my problem is like I feel like we're close, but we're still kind of far off. And I'm looking at our salary cap situation. I'm looking at even Andrew Thomas coming up. I'm looking at Sexy Dexy coming up. I'm looking at all these other players coming up that we're going to have to pay. We're going to still need help. And Joe Shane says it multiple times over the past. He said it over the past couple of months. Like, we're going to draft, like if you even listen to the podcast recently, it's like we're going to draft the best available player. We're going to draft the best available player. We don't even care if it's a center. We're going to draft the best available player. You know what I'm saying? So that being said, it's not like we're going to go out there and, we need this, so we're going to take that at 26, right? So in a sense of 40 million, the reason why I'm so uncomfortable with that number right now, unpopular opinion, is because we need so much help on so much other places. And even if like I'm not a advocate like we need to keep Barkley, we can't get rid of him. I'm comfortable. Barkley is my favorite player, but I'm comfortable getting rid of Barkley because I know how the market is for running backs. I know that we can acquire a running back in the draft, so I'm comfortable getting rid of Barkley. But if it had it my way, I would want to keep Barkley and pay him a fair price, you know. And that being said, I don't know how we do that when we're going to pay this guy $40 million a year. So if we back end the contract, I'm comfortable with that. And the only reason why I don't feel that 40 is we just explained it, right? Is just I don't think his resume has proven that lately. And I just think that even 35, 40 million people be like, well, you want to pay him 35, you think, but you don't want to pay him 40. To be honest, I want to pay him 32. But that's really being cheap. So, you know.
The only quarterback I would say real quickly that you could say had positional players that were not as good, but the quarterback elevated them is Trevor Lawrence. I'll give you an example. Trevor Lawrence last year with the Jacksonville Jaguars, 4,113 yards, 25 touchdowns, 8 interceptions. And he had guys like Evan Ingram, Zay Jones, Marvin Jones Jr., who's not the same player he was, and Christian Kirk, who we all believed was overvalued for the money that he got, and Travis Etienne, who's not the running back that Saquon Barkley is, plus an offensive line that was not that great either. Their offensive line, for the most part, was very average or pedestrian. So that's another thing right there. If you want to talk about another quarterback that elevated his team and got him into the same position, Trevor Lawrence is that guy if you want to make the example that Daniel Jones should not be getting paid the type of money he is. At the same point, I get what everybody's saying, but I'm going to wait until the contract negotiation period keeps going, and Joe Shane knows where his value is with Daniel Jones. Yeah. He knows what Saquon Barkley's value is. Let the process play out. If he believes that Daniel Jones is not worth the type of money he's asking for, franchise tag him, let him play out the tag, see if you can work out an extension after that, and then we'll see how it goes.
How many guys on that list that Randy put up is better than or you would take over Daniel Jones? How many guys on that list would you take over Jones right now?
To be honest, none.
Probably, huh?
Out of all those guys on this list, I'm sorry, I mixed it up. I would take every single one of those guys over Daniel Jones.
The only guy I probably won't is Kyler Murray, okay? So everybody on that list is better than Daniel right now, and Matthew Stafford is, who, by the way, won a Super Bowl. Why in the hell am I going to play Daniel Jones more than him?
Because that's just what the market is dictating right now, unfortunately, Adam, and it's just the way of the league. That's the market
dictating. That doesn't mean you have to pay him that. Just because that's what the market dictates
doesn't mean he got hired.
All right, look. This is the Premium Takes podcast. We are not going to spend an hour talking about Daniel Jones. We are going to segue just a bit. We can still talk about some of these other quarterbacks on the market. You know, Lamar Jackson. You got Derek Carr. I'm not sure about the future of Aaron Rodgers in Green Bay. So we can talk about some of these other guys a little bit too as well. Share some thoughts. How you guys feel about some of these other guys like Derek Carr's potential landing spot. Lamar Jackson, what's going to happen with him in Baltimore?
I like to begin real fast with Lamar Jackson because it kind of affects us because of the fact that I've been hearing rumors that the Commanders are interested in him. And what's your guys' thoughts on that if the Commanders acquire Lamar Jackson?
They'll find a way to screw it up. It's Washington. They'll find a way to screw up even somebody as good as Lamar Jackson. So even if he went over there, do you really have confidence? After what Washington has done with quarterbacks, veteran quarterbacks over the years, do you really have confidence that they're going to be able to put together a competent team on offense to be able to get the most out of Lamar Jackson? I don't.
I get your point, and I do agree on it somewhat, but I do also feel that when you get someone like Lamar Jackson, it's kind of like even if they mess up, Lamar Jackson's on the field, so he brings that dynamic ability to go into this that kind of like backyard football mode. You know what I'm saying? Well, I'm just gonna improvise, and that's why I think makes him so special. And that's why, don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to pull it back. I'm not trying to rewind it. Let's move forward. But that's what that's what I do like about Daniel Jones. I'm not gonna take that away from him. His ability to escape the pocket and his long strides. But as far as Derek Carr, I understand why he gets a lot of hate, but then if you really look at it and his overall career, the guy has pretty decent numbers, threw for over 4,000 yards multiple times, really great touchdown the past interception ratio throughout his career. Obviously, a few bad seasons. To be honest, I haven't really thought about any landing spots for him particularly. I'd like to hear your guys' thoughts on that.
I think Derek Carr pretty much is waiting to see what's going to happen with the Aaron Rodgers situation. I mean, at first it sounded like a foregone conclusion. Aaron Rodgers was going to be out of Green Bay after he went into the dark place, dark room, whatever the hell you want to call it. So, I mean, it sounded like that Aaron Rodgers was gone. He was going to be leaving Green Bay, and he was going to either have an option of pretty much going to another organization or he's going to retire. Now you're hearing rumors about it's possible that Aaron Rodgers could go back to Green Bay. Then maybe he just needed time away after the difficult season he had to go through over there with the Packers, that he just needed to clear his head. Maybe something like this. He decided, I'm going to help continue to build with these young receivers they have over there because they are talented. Christian Watson's good. Romeo Doubs is good. They still have a good two-pronged running back. They need to get some offensive line help over there. I mean, whatever you think of Matt LaFleur, they still have a decent team over there in Green Bay, so he could decide to ride it out and maybe he doesn't feel like changing organizations. But at the same time, I think the best option for Rodgers, at least, is the Jets because you look at the Jets' talent they have over there, and you think a quarterback, and what's been the biggest problem with the Jets? Quarterback. It's always been the quarterback position, no matter what you think about Robert Saleh as a head coach. I think the quarterback position is the biggest issue with that team because they got talent all over the place. You're getting Breece Hall back from injury. Offensive line does need to get a little bit of work done on it, but I think they'll be able to fix that up in free agency in the draft. So I think that Rodgers is the key. I think Aaron Rodgers is the key to everything in this free agent market. Wherever he goes, I think that's when you'll start seeing the dominoes fall with Derek Carr, with Daniel Jones, Lamar Jackson, everything. I think it all is hinging on what Aaron Rodgers is going to do going forward.
I can agree on that. The more gets weighed in on Aaron Rodgers' move. What's your thoughts, Adam?
Well, I think, Lamar Jackson is kind of the more interesting one because of what tag they might put on him. Because if they can't get a deal, they'll put a franchise. There's two of them. There's one that's $45 million, and there's one. So the question becomes, which one do you put on him? Because you put the $32 million tag on him. If I am anybody who's anybody, even Joe Shane, I'm going to inquire about how I can get Lamar Jackson for 2 first-round picks. If you put the big tag on him for $45 million, then you can negotiate and probably get a boatload of picks for him when you sign him to a deal. You can say, okay, listen, we can get you 2 first-round picks plus a second and a third next year. I'll do that. I'll get 4 picks as opposed to 2. So I think that's where I would start if I'm Lamar Jackson. If the Ravens do the tag that we think they're going to put on Daniel Jones, then you'd be stupid not to inquire about getting him. Because that guy does have no talent on his team except for Mark Andrews, and not to mention the NFL. I think this was a stat: 1,400 yards that receiving core average. They were the worst in the league. That's not my words. That's NFL.com. I guess I'm some crazy fan. But my point is, he had nobody elevated their play as well. So I would love to see what they do with Lamar Jackson. I think he's the first domino. Aaron Rodgers is doing what Brett Favre has done, right? He tried to say that he was not going to be Brett Favre, and guess what? He's the exact copy of Brett Favre. Hey, do I want to play? Do I not want to play? Do I want to be traded? I think if I'm Green Bay, I make a move and I just send him to a non-conference team, the first of the highest bidder. The Jets would be nice, but here's the thing for the Jets. If you want to do a guy and you're going to invest in a quarterback, you might as well invest in Derek Carr. A little younger, might have a little bit more longevity on the team, might be a little bit more prominent of a role. If you deem you are a Super Bowl team now, right, and you think Nathaniel Hackett, who was Rodgers' play caller, if you think you can get yourself a Super Bowl, then you call that guy up right now and you say, listen, you come here, a 2-year deal, we'll be too good in 2 years, we'll be fighting for the Lombardi. If not, I think Robert Saleh, if you're smart, you go with Derek Carr because Derek Carr is a little bit more experienced. You have more of a veteran team. You'll be in the playoffs. You may not win the Super Bowl, but at least you can keep your job for a while as you figure it out. Aaron Rodgers, it's Super Bowl or bust. You don't just get that guy and be like, well, we're going to be one and done in the playoffs and be happy about it. No, you want to win. So that's what I would look at. And then, the other guys, the other people that are free agents, I think there was one more.
Jimmy Garoppolo and Ryan Tannehill, I think.
Geno Smith. Don't forget Geno Smith.
He's not leaving Seattle. I mean,
Seattle's not letting him go.
You might want to look at that contract, because that could be the contract that Daniel Kaiser signs, right? Even though Geno Smith had better numbers.
But Gino, Seattle with the production at the Under Olympics, Seattle might look at one of these quarterbacks now, but probably still keep Gino on the roster. I agree with you guys.
Yeah. No, I think that's what they might do. Go for a quarterback in the middle of the in the NFL draft. Have somebody developing behind Geno, and then if he starts to fall off, you can maybe throw this kid out there. I got some news on Barkley. I mean, it pretty much says, as we all know, NFL Network Ian Rappaport says that Saquon Barkley and the Giants are not close to a deal at all. Shocking. We knew this was going to happen. Barkley's looking like he wants around 14 to 16 mil per season. Obviously, I don't see both of the sides come close right now to a deal. I think this is going to play out until around free agency at the beginning, and he might test out free agency. We'll see.
Well, that's something that's interesting, because for all you Daniel Jones lovers out there, because apparently having an opinion against him makes me an anti-Giant fan. But we'll see how really good he is without having a number 26 back there. Because people say we don't have any talent, but 26 to me is the best talent we have, and a lot better than some of these skill players and a lot of the other teams that we talk about. Right? We want to talk about, the Detroit Lions. They have a back like Barkley, no, but yet their offense goes. So I'm just looking at a guy like Barkley, who I don't even care if he stays. To be honest with you, at this point, I love Barkley, but there's so many backs in the draft this year that it's a deep draft class that
I like the backs this year, absolutely.
I can take those resources of $14 million that I've given to Barkley and give them to somebody else. Maybe give them to Julian Love if I like Love better. I don't think he gets paid by the Giants, but to me, Barkley is an intriguing matchup, because he's done. I'll put it this way: he's done more than Daniel Jones has in his career, but yet I don't mind to see. I could see him walking. But the difference is, you can't get a Saquon Barkley in the draft, but people are more willing to let him walk, right? Than the other guy we talk about. It's just perception. That's all it is.
You might be able to, if that I forget his name, but if that number one quarterback falls to 26, but he probably wouldn't, because if
Anthony
he falls
Richardson?
to 20, not Anthony Richardson, it's the running back. Oh, he's like
about-
really
he's
really
talking about
good.
Bijan Robinson?
Dude,
Yeah, Robinson.
He's
If
not dropping
Robinson,
that far. He's not dropping that
yeah,
far.
he's not dropping
No, I
that
think it's going to be
far.
top 10,
but-
top 15.
Yeah,
He's
but like,
in the ball. There's a
Yeah.
rumor coming out. No, I'm just kidding. I don't know.
no, if for any
It might
reason,
be.
if for any reason he's there and repicked, we're taking him no matter what, guys. That's a fact. Like, that is a fact. Like, if he's on the board, we are taking him.
Well, if
we
he's
don't
there when
sign
we
Horsemen.
pick, we wouldn't have much of a choice but to take him, because the talent would just be
Yeah.
too
That's
much
the only
to pass up.
that's the only running back I see that can probably put up Barkley and these top elite kind of numbers. There's obviously other running backs in the draft too that we never know, because you look at recent years, these running backs coming out of the 5th round are putting up good numbers.
Yeah.
So running
We
back,
also have to
that's
wonder-
why
Look,
we
here's the
pick
deal.
quarterback.
The Saquon Barkley thing. I think most of y'all should know that I'm a huge Saquon Barkley guy.
I think we all are
I
on that,
don't.
on that
I
train.
do not want to see Saquon Barkley go by any means. I think
Neither
the
do I.
narrative that running backs are so much easily replaced is what the problem is here. That's what the whole problem is. Running backs are so undervalued now in today's NFL that it's just like, we can just get another running back next year. No big deal. We can just get another guy in the draft. And granted, when you got guys like Pacheco from a year ago and doing the things that he did and making the splash plays coming in the league, it does kind of appear that way. So it's like it seems those seem to be substantiated facts that you can just replace a running back. Granted, you're right. You're not going to pluck another Saquon Barkley off the tree in the draft. You're not Saquon Barkley. But at the same time, you feel like more confident you can get another guy that can still come in and still be effective enough to keep your offense going. And maybe you just don't feel that way about the quarterback position. And maybe you don't know how these guys really feel about Daniel Jones. I don't know. I'm not in the meetings with them. I don't know their true feelings with Daniel Jones when they're sitting in those meetings. And maybe they really do feel like we're not going to find another guy in this draft that's better than the guy we already got right here, right now. Maybe that's how they truly feel. I have no idea. None of us will ever know that. But that's what it all comes down to. It's just semantics that you can go ahead. We can always replace the running backs. No big deal. We're not going to be able to replace the quarterback as easily. So that just puts a priority on the quarterback. And that's just the way the NFL is set up now and designed. It is what it is. So the quarterback's going to always be a priority. Going to always be the priority over a running back.
And if you could rewind, like to add to that point, rewind time 5 years. Todd Gurley, Devontae Freeman, like
Melvin Gordon.
It's the position, absolutely facts. And then if you have to choose one, is the quarterback position, because exactly what Max said. I'm not going to echo and repeat.
And also the fact too, what kind of offense are we running next year with the Giants? This year was more of a running game predicated offense, but are we going to spread it out a lot more? That's the thing too. Are we going to be more of a spread offense and try to throw the ball, go 11 personnel a lot more, which might not have the running back as important in the offense compared to what we did this past year, where we were more of a run blocking, run-oriented offense because of the lack of personnel we have on the outside. So that might have something to do with what they do with Saquon Barkley as well as the running back position going forward, is what kind of offense are we going to be running in 2023.
And that's why I really want to I personally want them to work it out, and if we keep, I want them to really like work out a fair offer, a reasonable offer at Daniel, a good and fair offer at Barkley, just because I don't want to lose Barkley, keep Daniel, and then we have a problem where like we can pass the ball all of a sudden, but now we can't run the ball. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I don't want. And I'm not saying there's not going to be a running back that's not going to come in and do his job.
Excuses.
But I that's a good point, Adam. Can you say that again?
Please bring Barkley back, because I don't want to hear any more excuses, right? Because if Daniel goes out and fails with no Barkley, what the end all be all, like, oh, well, he didn't have a star running back behind him like Saquon Barkley, they let him go. I don't want to hear it. Bring him back. Please, Joe Shane, bring him back. So if he does fail, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. It's like he had everything that he needed. Receiver, line, running back.
Yeah, and then like say if we I know we're gonna move on. We've been on this for a while as well, but say we signed Barkley, we signed Daniel, and then we can look at the interior offensive line, the cornerbacks, the linebackers, the receivers, add to the build, and that's why right now, guys, as people who's a fan of the show that maybe not maybe fans of the Giants, a fan of the NFL, because we do talk about all these sports years. That's why us as Giants fans is talking about Daniel Jones, talking about Barkley, because of the fact that this does control our offense. And if we can't get a deal done with Daniel Jones, we know what we're gonna attack in free agency and the draft, vice versa. You know what I'm saying? So that's why this is so at the front lines. We have two people who would say franchise players that has both need to get offers at the same time. Both Barkley and Daniel Jones has been the face of this franchise, whether you want to believe it or not. I know we have some guys on defense now, like Kayvon, that's going to become a face. But right now, it's been Barkley's team, and Daniel Jones is one of the faces of it. So the fact that there are two lining up at the exact same time, that we need to give both of our franchise guys contracts, our offseason is dependent and on hold until this all works itself out.
The only two guys, in my opinion, that are guaranteed to be here long term is Andrew Thomas and Dexter Lawrence. They're the only two. Everybody else, if they go, so be it. If they stay, so be it. Go ahead, Mac. I'm sorry.
Well, no, right now, man, we just going to leave that in the hands of Joe Shane and the powers that be. But for right now, still keeping it in the NFL for a little bit longer. We're going to go to the scouting combine going down this weekend in Indianapolis. Any standouts? We obviously know what AR-15's been doing, man, and he blew the combine up, and his stock has absolutely risen through the roof, man.
Absolutely.
Just after his workout yesterday. Any thoughts on any AR-15? Anybody else standing out to you guys in the combine?
I didn't really watch much of the combine because I worked through it a lot. But what I would have to say is I did love how a lot of the guys this year, in future years, don't get me wrong, we have a lot of studs. But it just seemed that the players that wasn't supposed to move as fast ran 40s. And I get it, they're not in full pads, but I was kind of impressed with the edge rushes, the linebackers, the weight on these guys and the ability to move. There's nothing. It wasn't any outlier performances. Obviously, you mentioned AR-15. He had an amazing combine. I'm not trying to take anything away from the kid. When I made my point previously in the show, the kid's amazing and deservedly so of a first round stock evaluated talent in a sense. But outside of that, I can't really say much on the combine. I know that Premium Takes is gonna be back, so keep on watching every week, guys. We're gonna give you more and more news about these players coming up. We're gonna do breakdowns on the list, top wide receivers, top running backs, quarterbacks, cornerbacks, so on and so forth. But I'm just gonna let Jeff and Adam take over if you guys did watch the combine, and we'd love to hear you guys' thoughts.
Well, I mean, I wasn't home. I didn't get a chance to watch it. I was out yesterday, but at least one of the guys that
Washington's one had catches nice. Yeah,
Washington, I heard, had a really good standout, but I'm going with the other. Everybody keeps talking about the one Tennessee wide receiver, Jalen Hyatt. I'm talking about the other one, Cedric Tillman. I've been higher on Tillman as an overall player compared to Hyatt because I just think he's a better fit as an outside receiver, guy that can go and high point the ball. I think he's a better route runner overall than Hyatt. Hyatt's just got that incredible blazing speed. He's going to be able to run past the defenders. He's more of your 9 route guy, but I question about him when it comes to being able to run the route tree in the NFL. So I thought that a guy like Cedric Tillman actually had a pretty decent combine over there. And obviously everybody was like going nuts about Nolan Smith too, with how well he apparently ran in the combine as well. But the thing with the combine is, I know everybody loves the combine. It's the underwear Olympics for a reason. These guys show out in these drills. I want to see what they're going to be able to do when they get on the football field on Sundays and Thursdays and Mondays. That's what I think. Adam, what about you, bro?
I mean, I like the combine. I love-hate relationship with the combine, right? I like it because it allows you to get a look at players you may not always follow, because not everybody wants to read a draft guide or have a subscription to this, that, and the other thing. It may put a guy on your radar that you haven't been featuring. However, I do believe there's certain drills that the combine needs to feature more, and certain drills that they need to get kind of put an X around. The 40-yard dash has ruined the NFL combine, okay? Because the 40-yard dash, it does not tell me if a guy can play football, because you're not running 40 yards. You never run 40 yards, right? Unless you're catching a pass and running 40 yards. That's not what the 40-yard dash is, right? You're not a sprinter. If you were sprinting and you were trying to pick the next great sprinter, maybe that's what I want to do. This guy runs a 40-yard dash. Because what you need to know is the first 10 yards, his 10-yard split, and then the 3-cone drill, right? Those are the few drills that can really tell you how explosive a guy is. The 40 times are fun for the skill position players. Do I really need to see kickers and linemen running 40s? I really don't. It's not that I care that they're in their underwear running it. I really don't. But it's just funny to think that I need a guy to tell me, oh, that guy is fast. Okay, great. His numbers in the 3-cone, the explosion, some of the drill that they did where you were picking up the towel and running around in the figure 8, that tells more about the football player than it does a 40-yard. So if you're going to watch the combine, try to look for the non-sexy events, right? Because they're the ones that are the real football knowledge. Like Mac brought up the other day, Mike Mamula blew up the combine. His career was buttress in the NFL. Combines don't always tell a story. Sometimes it exposes you. However, I will say this. If you're a guy that's not going to participate, don't show up. I feel like don't show up. Because to me, if this is going to be a showcase for young guys to come up and get a chance to be exposed, let those guys do it. Because I feel like, I'm not going to throw the football today, or I'm not going to run the 40 today. You're taking a spot of another kid who, is busting his ass to get to that combine and couldn't be there because he was either injured or not invited. But you decide, I'm invited, but I'm just going to sit here and not do any of the drills. Like, that's why I think Anthony Richardson was smart. Because when he did the drills, he had hype about him. And then to blow the doors off the drills, I mean, the dude is 244 pounds running a 4.4. I don't know if you know what that is. That's a Mack truck coming at you.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
And I hate to say it, but
well, maybe, I was going to say with some of these guys, they have that fear. Also, going out there, they just more comfortable in their own at their own facilities that they used to practice in that.
Well, then no joke.
You see what happened with Jalen Hyatt yesterday? Jalen Hyatt doing his workouts, tighten his little hamstring issues now, or whatever he's having dealing with.
See, guy with the hamstring, shocking.
Right, but that's
and to follow through real fast, Adam, they probably go and show up, even though they know they're not gonna go and do any drills because of the player interviews.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that interview is like 15 minutes, bro. It's not like you're
True, but they gotta show face
yeah,
just
but
in case any
but
team
look,
wants to
look,
interview them.
look. You're not. It's not like
Same.
that team is not going to come to your pro day, right?
Yeah, no, true.
What I'm
But that's
saying
probably
is-
why their agent or the people that's backing them, whoever's with them, is like, you need to show face, even though you're
What I'm
not going
saying
to
is
work
like,
out.
if
No,
you look
need
at
to show
AR-15.
face.
AR-15
Yes.
could be like, you know what? I'm not showing up, right? Just do
Yeah,
the interview.
true.
And not
True.
blowing away the doors. Now he goes from a guy who probably was picked in 15 to 20 range, and now it's probably going to be 18 to 12 range, 8 to 12 range, because of what he did.
Might even go in the top 15. Might even go in
Maybe
the top
number
10.
one after this performance. That's what, like the combine for me, I knew I wasn't drafting Dwayne Haskins. If I were the guy that I was drafting that year, believe it or not, was Daniel Jones. Because when he went to the combine and he was throwing the ball all over the yard, everything that they said that was wrong about him, it looked like he was correcting. And I'm like, there's potential. When you look at AR-15, everyone's like, oh, well, his footwork is bad. Well, that's what the coach is supposed to do. Let him sit on the bench, work on that footwork. But if he puts it together, that's what it does. A guy that hurt his stock is like Addison. Even though Addison, is a top player, a guy that hurt his stock.
He run like a 4.5, right, Adam?
He ran like a 4.47, but he couldn't do any of the other drills. So now he has to wait till his pro day. Well, you don't know if you're going to get injured, but the point is, sometimes if you don't want to go to the combine, you're nervous, just don't go. Go to your pro day. I get that. I just don't want to go to the combine and sit there and see these guys that we get all hyped up for, and they're like, we're not going to do this drill, or we're not going to do this. When you're fully healthy. If you're injured, I get it. You're fully healthy, different story.
I do like Bryce. I do like Young. I do like
Stroud.
Sorry, but I do believe that AR-15 does have the highest potential out of all of these guys coming out, like the highest ceiling. You know what I'm saying? Because once that is, I believe truly that's another Lamar Jackson in a sense. You know what I'm saying? That can be.
Go to the right team.
But yes, exactly.
Go to the right team and right situation.
Right position. Absolutely.
Because like a guy like a
that's
CJ
a good
Stroud.
example.
Sorry.
Oh, go ahead.
I can say a guy like
That's a good
CJ
example.
Stroud.
Like what? Go ahead.
Sorry.
Still working out the case.
A guy like CJ Stroud.
That's never so bad, guys.
He had a good combine, but because AR-15 did what he did, you're not going to look at it. He's the most NFL ready guy, I believe. So if you put AR-15 on the Panthers, that's probably a good fit for them. You put AR-15 on the Colts, probably not going to work out, right?
No, absolutely not.
Well, I was gonna say that's like an example. Like, he got like Bijan Robinson, the running back we were talking about earlier from Texas. That kid is like he's obviously the number one running back in this draft. He's going to go high. He's going to go. He honestly could possibly go as high as the top 10 at the running back position, which doesn't happen very often in today's modern NFL and draft. I think they mentioned earlier Saquon Barkley was the last top prospect running back to really actually get plucked very high in the draft like that inside the top 10, top 5 for Saquon Barkley actually. And but this kid is still going to go. He's at the combine. He's going to still do everything, even though he had nothing to prove. You know what I mean? No matter what happens through this process, he's going to be the top running back going into April, into the draft. But he still wants to go out there and show these teams what he can do. And he's probably, for the sake of, look, I know people don't draft running backs that high often anymore, but look, I'm worth it. Take that, call my name, pretty much. Send that card to the commissioner, have my name on it. You're going to regret it if you don't. I mean, this kid can literally do everything. He can split out wide. He can do all. He's just an absolute offensive weapon. And I think it is going to be a lot of teams passing up on him because of that running back narrative. And I think he's the kind of kid that's going to make people pay. Going to come in with a chip on his shoulder and just ball out next year as a rookie. And here you go right now. My way too early prediction. Bijan Robinson, Offensive Rookie of the Year next year. You heard it here first.
I like
I
that.
don't know what team he's going to be on.
We need a premium take sound effect. So when you make a premium take,
we'll get a soundboard going on. Absolutely.
Folks, that is a premium take. Because right there, Mac just made something sight unseen.
Thank you, Mitch.
Sight unseen. Mac is going with B.J. Robinson as Offensive Rookie of the Year.
Absolutely.
I'm going with Will Levis.
Ooh, wow.
I love it.
Notice I'm not saying that with a straight face because I don't believe he's going to be the Rookie of the Year. No, I think it's going to go to. It's probably going to go to a quarterback, most likely. So
we'll see. And probably watching the AR-15. That'd be funny.
yeah, that's I was actually just about to say it's gonna probably be
And if it
Anthony
is,
Richardson.
Clip that, and we can play that for years to come. Because apparently,
go.
I only say things once in a while that people can appreciate.
You know, I'm good for the clips.
That's true. That's true.
That's man. Mac is great with the clips, man. My God. Listerine,
Yes,
everyone.
You know
We're
it.
having Listerine this fall. I hope you like it.
I heard about this running
It's
back
It's
from
gonna be the gold. It's gonna be
Minnesota.
the gold Listerine though. Nobody really likes it, but it's still Listerine.
19 straight games with 100 yards.
Oh, that got
Wow. Will Levis. That one just went right over my head, and I don't know why. Will Levis is overrated, man. This dude gets so much love, but he's better than Trace McSorley. Everybody's better than Trace McSorley. Let's just be real. Let's just be real about Trace McSorley. Yeah.
Any more on NFL, fellas, before we start with other things? This is, after all, the Premium Takes podcast. So,
Well, let's
any
move
more
on.
thoughts? Any final thoughts? NFL news?
Well,
I was
no
just
more
gonna say-
Tuesday,
Anything
basically.
else y'all want to get?
Yeah, let the process play
Something to
out.
get off
Yeah,
your
that's
chest.
exactly what I was gonna say. I love the.
Any
I love
last
the
Daniel
change.
Jones comments?
Please
I
no,
love-
please no.
I love the change. I love the regime change. I love what we did last year. Coach of the year, baby. Well, anyway, coach of the year. Joe Shane has really proven to be a legit GM, just saying it how it is, no bullshit, cutting it out straight dry when he gives his interviews. I love the place that the Giants is in right now, and let the process play out.
Let's go. That's all I gotta say is let's
get
let
it.
Joe Shane
Let's
go
move
out
it
there
on.
and do his magic this offseason. Whatever it is,
That's
we're
great.
all on this board. We're still Giants fans, no matter who's here and who's not here. We all rock the
We
blue.
all want to see the team succeed.
Yep.
Fellas, let y'all take the lead here, man. I know y'all all got a lot to say. I'm not the biggest NBA guy these days, but I know you guys all tune in. Y'all all got y'all teams. Y'all got y'all guys. Brooklyn,
Yeah, fuck them.
Nets
Fuck
up
Kevin
there.
Durant. That's all I gotta say.
Miami Heat, Zion.
That's all I gotta say
you
about
guys
that.
want to talk
Get it.
talk a little talk, man. How things going in the NBA for you guys, man? Right, at least lately. I'll try to catch up.
I'm gonna be short. I'm gonna be simple. This season, I haven't watched it at the beginning, but I started watching it now. We was off to a bad start. We kind of fixed a few things. What I do want to point out is and people might think I'm crazy saying this, but I think the acquisition of Kevin Love makes us a dark horse. Being that we have a team where we're struggling, and I believe we're 7th right now, but look who else is struggling. The defending champions are struggling, but guess what? The defending champions is going to be there. You know what I'm saying? I'm not calling Miami Heat Golden State, but all I'm saying is, we have all these other teams struggling, and this is where it matters, the push to the playoffs. I'm confident that Miami will enter into the playoffs, and what I do want to say is, the acquisitions of Zeller and K-Love to this team is exactly what we need. Now we can match up with mostly any team. We have bigs, we have smalls, and we have 7 of guys on our team that can easily put up 20 points a game. We're a loaded roster. I might be biased here, but I think we have one of the better benches in all of the NBA. We're not a super team by whatever moves, but we do have a tough conference. We still have Boston. We have Milwaukee. We have a lot of teams to overcome. Obviously, we have the Sixers. Can't forget about them. But I'm lucky we don't have the Clippers. I'm lucky we don't see Golden State. So I can't forget about the Suns. KD makes me mad. So screw the Suns. But that being said, they're not in our conference, so we don't have to worry about them. What we do have to worry about is the Sixers. Obviously, the Nets. You guys have a decent roster. The Knicks, absolutely. The Knicks been looking good with Randall Brunson. Has really been having a great season. But one thing I want to point out, I know I'm a Miami Heat fan, but I have to give shout outs to 2 players that just been having great seasons. Tyrese Hallenberger and Lauri Markkanen. Man, great guys. Lauri Markkanen to even, be featured as a starter in the All-Star game, man. Obviously, it's probably because he was from Utah, but even not to take anything away from Lauri and the Utah Jazz, man, he's been having a great season with them. And even Tyrese Hallenberger, it's great seasons for them. And I have been watching just the improvement on all these young guys coming into the league and just producing immediately. And I know Thomas that Jeff and Adam can talk about on the Nets. You guys
How's
got
Jovic
something.
doing for you, the young kid that you drafted, Nikolai
Uh,
Jovic?
Jovic has been producing when he sees minutes. And one thing I do like is even Robertson, the other young guy, Robertson. Both of them been coming in and producing. But now that we have Ziller and we have K Love, it just gives them more ability to develop under veterans. Because when Bam is out, we can put in Zeller or we can put in K Love. And then don't get me wrong, Jokic and Robertson still gets minutes, but we don't have to force feed them minutes. We finally have a roster where I feel comfortable with. Like we don't have an all-star. Oh, we do. We have Bam. Sorry, we have an all-star in Bam, and we do have a superstar, and he goes into Super Saiyan mode when he reaches the playoffs in Jimmy Butler. So that's all I want. I just repeat what we did last year. Jimmy Butler, I believe he's been averaging like 18 to 22 points a game. Tyler Hero stepped up this season. Bam is an all-star this season. I am really comfortable. I do believe that the Heat is a dark horse team this year. And I truly believe that we can make it to the conference championship, the Eastern Conference Championship game. I know that Westbrook is that's Clippers of Myers. I know Embiid and that roster that the Sixers have, but I just truly believe I'm truly confident in my team with the ability to we can. I'm just I'm just I'm just happy that we're in a state where we're not like after LeBron left us, and I'm always in debt to LeBron for winning us 2 championships back to back. We was in salary cap hell for like 10 years, signing Whiteside, signing Gorgeous, not working out. And then I'm glad to say that the Miami Heat is actually, back where we need to be. And, I'm fully confident, say if Kyle's not on the floor, Max can come in. If Tyler's not on the floor, Victor Oladipo can come in, or Max. I said Max. Gabe Vincent can come in or something. You know what I'm saying? If Jimmy Butler's not on the floor, and our bench is just when our starters leave the floor. All I'm trying to say is to wrap this up because I know I'm dragging this on.
I like
When our
Caleb
starters
Martin
leave
too
the
for you
floor,
guys
yeah,
as
Caleb
well.
Morton, exactly. When our starters leave the floor, like we can come, our bench can still play competitive basketball. And one thing I'm going to end it with Robertson, not the rookie I was just talking about, the shooter Robertson, his hand was giving him problems early on in the season. His wrist, he's getting healthier, and he'll be ready for the playoffs. So we get another 3-point shooter back. And one thing I'm gonna leave it at too. I always say one thing, I add something more. One thing that I loved about Kevin Love too is, yeah, he may not be the Kevin Love as old, and I'm a Miami Heat fan, but I'm not gonna be like biased. I know who Kevin Love is. I'm not gonna say he's one of the top tier players right now, but what he can do is he can shoot threes, and that's what we like. So I'm gonna leave it at that. I'll let you guys talk about the
Not bad.
Nets.
Excellent analysis there, Zion. All about the Heat and the NBA. I like that, bro. Well, I mean, I don't usually like getting salty, but when I have a reason, Adam has a reason, and us Nets fans have reasons to be salty after what we've gone through over the past 4 years with our team, with the drama and the BS. I mean, we've made it well documented what we've had to go through as Nets fans with the idiotic stuff going on off the court, more important than actually what's been going on the court. And obviously, we were a team that a lot of people still predicted to possibly make it to the Eastern Conference Finals or even the NBA championship and win it all. Obviously, that didn't happen because of the drama that went on in the offseason. KD wanted to be traded. Kyrie Irving wanted to be traded, not getting his contract. Then we come into the season. Everything is off to a really rough start. They're just not putting it together. Then obviously they start hitting their stride. We get above 500. And then we go on an 18-game win streak. Well, it was like a 16, 17 win streak during the season. Everything's riding high. And then that one afternoon against the Miami Heat, where Jimmy Butler lands against Kevin Durant's knee, ends up spraining his MCL. Durant's out again, like it happened last year. And then Kyrie Irving, he's trying to work out a long-term deal. He's not able to work out a long-term deal, and he ends up wanting to get traded. And then we obviously saw what happened. Irving gets traded to Dallas. We get Dinwiddie and Dorian Finney-Smith. And then Durant, the night after, he wants to get traded. He gets traded to Phoenix. We get Cam Johnson, Mikal Bridges, and a bunch of picks. So I'm not surprised that the past 4 games, I'm not going to the Celtics game just yet, but the past 4 games before that, the Nets struggled. When you're a team that's got new players that you're integrating onto your team, it's going to take some time for you to build a chemistry with one another, and it's going to be a rough road. The defense at first looked pretty good, but in that 4-game stretch, this team couldn't buy a defensive play. They were giving up about 125 points per game. They couldn't stop anybody. The wing defense was horrendous. They were getting abused in the down low. It's been a really rough what's going on, Miz? It's been a really rough go for the Nets for the past 4 games. They were getting blown out by the Knicks, getting blown out by the Bulls. We lost a tough one against the Hawks with that buzzer beater by Trae Young after Cam Johnson just hit a 3 to tie it. So, I mean, the Nets were a team that looked like they were just going to keep going down in the Eastern Conference, and it looked the same way when we were playing against Boston. But I will give credit. I will give credit to Jacques Vaughn and those players after being down by 28 points to the Boston Celtics, a team that has handled us for 10 straight games. And this team managed to have the moxie and the gumption to battle all the way back, take the lead, and find a way to close out the Boston Celtics again in that game to get that big-time win. You have no idea what a win like that against a team that has been able to dominate us for literally 10 straight games, how that can really help out a team going forward. They got a game, obviously, this afternoon. My thing with the Nets, my expectations is they're not going to win a championship this year. I don't think they are, but they have a lot of good players on this team. A lot of good young players on this team. Namely, I'm going right to Mikal Bridges. Everything I've seen of this kid has impressed the hell out of me. His defense is elite. His offense is starting to really emerge now as something not close to it, not really elite yet, but he's starting to become one of those upper echelon offensive players. Cam Johnson, this kid could shoot, especially from the three-point line. I love Nicholas Claxton as a player defensively. The guy might be defensive player of the year when it's all said and done. Offensively, he's not terrible. He's around the basket. Can get some of the, put-back baskets. Can even dribble the ball up to the court. I like Dorian Finney-Smith as a decent power forward. He's not great offensively, but he's good at cleaning up the glass. I mean, Cam Thomas, he's a great offensive player. But the problem is Thomas is still rough around the edges with the rest of his game. The bench
he's so young. He has his ceiling, though, Jeff.
The ceiling is there, but he needs to develop the rest of his game. That's why he's not playing Zion. He's not good defensively. He turns the ball over way too much. He's still rough around the edges. I think the Nets right now, and I know NYG threw it up there before, I think that this team is around a 6th, 7th seed at the moment. That's where I'd probably put them. I mean, if we make it into the playoffs and we could win at least a round, I'd be more than happy after what we've had to go through this season. I don't know what Adam feels about the Nets right now. I'll let him speak his piece about it. In terms of the East, I still think that Boston is the best team in the East, or Milwaukee. I still think they're the clear 2 top teams in the Eastern Conference. So we'll have to wait and see. But either way, I just want to see. I just want to see this Nets team get into the playoffs, show us something going into the season, or show into the playoffs, win a round, and then I'd be more than happy after everything that we've had to go through. Adam, go ahead.
Well,
You better not be trolling, Miz.
Well, it's addition by subtraction, I guess, right? We wanted to see kind of growth from the team, and we're getting that. We're getting guys who are hungry, playing hard. They may not be the best, but they're going to play hard for this team. And I think it's time for the Nets to kind of keep home growing their talent and just build your team and stop trying to chase these superstars and these championships. Right now, you're on the East, right? There's not a lot of powerhouses in the East. If you look at what the teams like the 76ers have done, they had Joel Embiid as their superstar. He was a homegrown guy. Then they brought in James Harden. Let's do that. Let's get our own guy first. Let's make the right moves. Keep this young core of guys, because what have you seen? In the NBA, the best team wins. So if you have a bunch of guys who can score the basketball and play defense, that's just as good as one guy who can do it all and a bunch of nobodies. Right? And that's what the Nets were.
Is he trolling, dog?
You're going to piss Adam off. Don't do that, Miz.
No, not me. We're talking about the New Jersey Nets. I mean the Brooklyn Nets right now. So,
I guess that was a great point, yeah.
But for real, I'm not expecting them to win a championship. But I think it's positive sign to see that they haven't tanked, right? The guys they're getting want to be here, are playing hard, and I mean they're competing with the bottom feeders of the rest of the NFC, the Eastern Conference. So, am I expecting a championship? No. Will they be better than the Knicks? I hope the Knicks are better because they got better talent on the team right now, right? So the Knicks are far along. I mean, our guys are all over the place. I mean, look, we got Dimwitty. We got a few other guys from Phoenix and things like that in the trade.
Michael Bridges is really good, Adam. This kid is really starting to grow.
I like him a lot.
And Johnson's not bad either.
But they're not the same players.
Nova, baby.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So to me, I'm just like, I'm excited to see where these guys go. Dimwitty is pretty cool. And the NBA has been fun. I mean, I don't know who's going to win the championship this year. It's looking like, I hate to say this, Boston looks phenomenal. Jason Tatum is a friggin' star. The only problem I have with Tatum sometimes, where I think he can become the elite star, is that when he's having a bad game, to find a way to still take over, right? Because I think his weakness is if he doesn't have a great game, sometimes the Celtics tend to kind of go poo-poo, even though his counterpart, Brown, can shoot the lights out of the gym. And because he's not as flashy as Tatum, he's more of a clutch player. So I think I need to see Tatum step up in the playoffs a little bit this year. But the Boston team is pretty good, man. Pretty good.
You know who really helped you out too? Brunson.
Since we got Miz in the chat right now, we'll go ahead and stroke his ego a little bit, man. These New York Knicks on an 8-game winning streak right now, lighting up the NBA on fire, man.
I honestly think
contenders or are they pretenders? Give it to me straight, man.
I think they're for real because of the addition of Brunson and what he brought into that team. I mean, like Randall,
Nova, baby.
Randall is playing his lights out, but I think having Brunson there is the same effect that Kyrie's going to play with Luka. Like now that Luka has Kyrie, watch out. But now that Randall shown
they sucked lately.
Right now, actually,
they suck. Yeah, they're struggling, right? But I just think that with Brunson. With the Knicks acquiring Brunson, I remember some Knicks fans that kind of being like confused on why would you pay Brunson that kind of money. Do you guys realize what he can bring to the team now? And I know that's not only him. I know that some rookies, Miz can talk more. He is a Knicks fan. I know some rookies has been performing too, but I believe Brunson was being able to elevate Randall's game, and Randall just having outstanding numbers. And
do you think they beat the Celtics? That's the question.
No.
If you don't believe they're going to beat the Celtics,
I don't think they're that level yet. I think they're making the playoffs, but I don't think they're ready to beat a Milwaukee, even a 76ers at this point.
Because
I will say one thing.
Go ahead,
Adam.
No, go ahead.
The one thing that could put the Knicks over the top is RJ Barrett. That is the key to that team. Mitchell Robinson coming back has given them that defensive enforcer in the middle. Randall has been terrific at power forward. Obviously, we know how good Brunson's been. They have a solid bench. I love Quickly off the bench. He's been a great shooter. I like Grimes as an overall player. Coach Ed has been talking about Grimes for a while. McBride, solid. Hartenstein's played well. But RJ Barrett, if that kid could finally turn into the player or a little bit close to the player the Knicks have been hoping for, that kid could really elevate that Knicks team to the next level and maybe put him in the conversation to possibly beat a Boston or a Philadelphia. But it's really, to me, Barrett's the key. Go ahead, Adam.
Well, I'm saying the playoffs in the NBA is tricky. They're not as predictable, or they're not as unpredictable as like the NFL playoffs, right? So teams usually, when they go in, they don't always upset. We don't hear about too many upsets in these NBA playoffs. So my thing is, if I'm the Knicks, don't worry about being, the best seed. Worry about beating Boston, because this is their ticket to the finals. And then when you get there, you're playing with house money. But right now, it's good to have Knick basketball back in the city, in the Mecca, because it brings. I think basketball in New York City is probably, I wouldn't say the best sport to follow, but it really brings the city a buzz. And so good for the Knicks to bring that buzz back to New York. Like the Yankees have their buzz, the Mets have their buzz. When the Knicks are winning basketball games,
it's a basketball town, yeah.
Totally different atmosphere in New York. So,
Can I just touch on something real fast? Yo, Dame Time. If you ever find a way to watch Premium Takes, if you're listening to this, I understand that you want to win a championship for the city of Portland. I do understand that, but bro, it's probably not gonna happen, bro. Go to the Knicks, get Miz. Come, he wants you. Go to the Knicks.
Stop.
Dude, I feel so sorry for Dame Time. He's so good. He scores 60 points a game and they still lose. Like, what does this guy have to do? Like,
Oh, he's gonna be like Kevin Garnett, man. He's gonna be
Or Bradley Beal.
man.
When is Bradley Beal ever going to leave Washington? Every single year you hear Bradley Beal's name in the rumors saying he's going to get traded, he's going to get traded, he's going to get traded, and he's still in Washington. So I don't know who's got a better chance to ever leave their team, Bradley Beal or Dame Lillard. I think they're both
Here's
not
the
going
thing, though.
anywhere.
We praise guys for
I love it.
leaving the team, but here's the guys who are actually staying with their teams and saying, "Listen, I want to stay here. I want to build my legacy here," and I give kudos to them for not banging the table like certain athletes in the NBA, Kyrie and KD, who banged the table to come to Brooklyn, only to then say, "Screw you guys, I'm leaving," to go to not a losing team.
No.
Team that's ready made. So for Damian Lillard, I praise you. You probably should get more credit than you.
What is Portland's record? What is Portland records? Because if they have an opportunity, y'all need a flop for Victor. Flop for Victor.
They don't have a chance.
Oh no, they don't have a chance.
They're going to be in the lottery, but they don't got. It's going to be.
There's no
they're
chance.
nowhere getting close to Detroit or Houston. But
they'll really fall down there, huh?
I'm sorry, fellas, because I'm out of touch with the NBA. Right now, like I said, I don't really bang with it. I feel like it's just not the game I grew up loving to watch it anymore. It's just a little too soft for my liking. I'm sorry. The great athletes, not knocking them, but I'm just not into it. It's just not my thing anymore. But am I so out of touch that the Sacramento Kings are third in the West? What is happening right now?
They're good. De'Aaron Fox has been terrific. Fox has been terrific. Yeah, Sabonis has been terrific. Fox has been terrific. They got Malik Monk, his former Fox's former teammate. He's been over there. They put together themselves a hell of a team. Hell of a team that they have all these young players being put together, good chemistry. I'm not shocked at all. They've had the talent. They just needed I think they need the right coach too.
Sometimes you need patience.
Exactly.
You know what's funny that Max said that, because I swear to God, I was watching these games this past week, and then it was actually a month ago. I forget what game it was, but it was so physical. And what I wanted to do was I wanted to like kind of have that game and then clip it and like send it to Mac and be like, "Hey Mac, this is maybe can bring you back a little bit," because they were like going after each other. And like when you have like I get it, obviously it's not the 90s, it's not even the early 2000s, but it is what compensates in that is the speed of the game, and that's what's fun watching.
He's a sucker.
Yeah,
He's a goddamn sucker. That's what he is.
We talked about it. I think we talked
Public
about
enemy number one.
He's a sucker. That's what he is. I'm not gonna win on a team because I can't do it by myself.
Can I ask you something, Jeff? Are you more mad at KD or are you more mad at Kenny Galladay?
At least Kenny Galladay, I knew the dude was gonna suck.
$830,000 a catch.
Kevin Durant came to my team and literally self-destructed my entire franchise along with the entire organization because I'm not he's the owner.
He played some games, right? He did some games. Kenny Galladay did nothing in the second half of the season. He had
but he caught a touchdown. He caught a touchdown, Adam.
Yes, his cleats were collecting dust all year. He had to blow his cleats off.
Adam. He made really good blocks in the run game.
Yes. Adam, did you see that big pancake block he had against Minnesota? Come on.
Listen, I don't want to hear anything from you guys about Kenny Galladay because people have been banging the table all year about that guy. Hey, man, Joker, you gotta love him, man. He's a giant.
I could go out there and catch 2 balls for the Giants under his contract and be a millionaire.
Yeah. Shoot, I kept shooting. I would do that in one game. I said, "See you later."
$830,000 every time he caught a ball. I did the math.
Yeah, let's not go down that road.
That's not.
He lasted longer than Kadarius Toney did.
Let's do a U-turn. Let's do that U-turn. Let's pull this right back around.
It's gonna go right to what if we keep going down this road.
Yeah, we're definitely not going down that rabbit hole.
I know.
But hit the brakes with it. Hit the brakes. Sorry, we're not going there.
Next Sunday,
we're gonna go here. We're gonna go here, man. We're gonna go a little bit. I mean, we don't got to touch on this too much. At Major League Baseball, got some approaching opening day. We got some new rule changes. We'll see. Get you some of you guys' opinions on this new pitch count. 15 seconds if there's no runners on base. I believe is that what it is? 15 seconds if there's no runners on base. 20 seconds or something like that. If there are runners on base.
Interesting.
Right now on paper, it seems like it might be helpful, speed the game up and everything on paper. But like I said, we haven't really seen it and see how it's really going to affect games, especially big games later in the season when things really matter the most in the postseason and stuff like that. So, you got your opinions on pitch count, Jeff?
I think that the pitch clock is going to end up being something very good for baseball because what does everybody complain about baseball? They say it's too long, it's drawn out, people taking their time going off the mound. You're seeing starting pitchers, relief pitchers, always checking their hands, checking their pitches, people getting out of the batting box, etc. So it's a way to speed the game up and keep the younger fan invested because what do you think they did this for? They want to get the next generation of fans interested in the sport because the fact that you could be playing some of these games, especially if you have a night game, and if you're a Yankee fan and you want the younger generation to see these new Yankees players play, if you have a game that starts at 7:30, 8 o'clock, and you have a game that lasts about 3.5, 4 hours because there's no pitch clock, these kids aren't going to be able to watch this game. It ends up feeling too slow. So they're trying to modernize the game. What's going on, Greg? They're trying to modernize the game to make it a little bit more interesting for the younger fans to be more invested and interested in it compared to basketball and football and even hockey to a degree, where it's more of a sped up, more exciting game to watch in a way because baseball, while you're a traditionalist, you might love it. You don't want to change the game. You like it the way it is. Let's just be real. A lot of people nowadays don't have the attention span to really sit down and watch a 3.5, 4 hour baseball game on a nightly basis. They want, quick results, something exciting to watch and get them invested into the games nowadays. So that's why I understand they're doing it. I have my reservations because I've seen the pitch clock already and how even some games have ended because the pitch clock running out too quickly and costing a team a game. I want to see what's going to happen during the season, but at the same time, I'm going to be willing to give it a chance because I think it will be very beneficial for the Major League Baseball overall when we go into the future and especially into the season. As long as it doesn't cost the Mets any games, then I might have a problem with it.
Any thoughts, Zion? I know you're not really a huge baseball guy.
I'm not a biggest baseball fan, and the problem is because exactly what Jeff said. You know what I'm saying? So I maybe might have to take a second look at baseball now because I'm a fan of sports and I always wanted to branch my horizons in sports. I was actually going to get into the MLS. But that being said, I think it's good because of the fact that what Jeff said. I'm not going to echo it, but when you get home from work or when you're looking to just chillax, right? There's so much other options, right? It could be it's sports in general. We're putting sports in a box. It's like, should I watch this 3-hour fight, this 3-hour football game, this 3-hour baseball game, a 2.5-hour basketball game, or should I go stream this next episode of House of Dragons? You know what I'm saying? So you have these options, right? And as a fan of sports, I love watching sports. But if you're a younger fan and maybe you're getting interested in sports and you put on a baseball game and then you got school the next day and you're like, you got to turn it off before the game is over because you have a bedtime and stuff like that, it can be hard. So to speed up the game, I believe what Jeff said, it makes the game more exciting. And that's great on baseball. We had baseball get taken over by the UFC not too long ago, and there always is going to remain the top four. You know what I'm saying? They're always going to remain one of the top sports. But this is a way to bring in younger fans, and I think it's good for the sport because I think the MLB has kind of taken a step back to the NFL, and before it was never that way. The MLB was the main sport. You know what I'm saying? So it's a good way to get more fans into the sport.
Listen, if you guys have seen overtime baseball, you know that it can drag on for a long, long time. Listen, as a guy who worked with a company that used to cut baseball games and re-air them, and you to sit there and have to do that after a game's gone into 17 extra innings and all that crap, and there's no time limit, and you're stretching out pitchers and things like that, it really takes a toll on you. So imagine the average viewer who's not working that game, who's not getting paid. That's a long game to watch. I don't know how it'll affect the batters because that's the ones who you're really relying on, right? Pitchers
The video.
will be able to adjust, I think, better because they'll be able to see the clock. So will batters, but batters usually you want your head clear. You don't want to worry about anything. But now if you have to worry about a time clock and speeding up and everything like that, I think that might put a little pressure on these batters. Maybe you'll see the averages dip a little bit, be a little bit more defensive games because you will see people pressing as they get used to this time clock because they have no time clock in Little League, which they probably should. They have no time clock in high school or college. So it's not like in the NBA or in the NFL, when you go up through your ranks, you understand a play clock. You always get that in your head. In baseball, that's not like that. So it's going to be interesting to see how the batters respond.
Well, I have my opinion of it, like maybe possibly in a negative form, is maybe it's not so good for the pitchers or the batters, to be quite frank, because now you're going to have pitchers, some pitchers at least anyway, that can't really adjust, feeling rushed. You know what I mean? And then that could lead to potentially more hit batters. I mean, I got to look at it from that whole perspective that it could lead to a lot of different things here. You know what I mean? Everybody's going to feel a little bit more rushed, something that just no one's used to. This is kind of a drastic rule change that none of these guys have ever prepared for this their entire life playing the game of baseball. So it's going to be interesting to see how it all pans out. Right now, like I said, I'm all for speeding the game up because you guys hit the head hit the nail on the head with that. It's the game sometimes can just drag out way too long, man, way too long, and they do tend to get a little boring. But we'll have to see how this one works out when the season kicks off and see how it affects how the kind of effect it has on games. Now, another rule change being implemented is the shift. Now, infielders must have their feet in the dirt, and you got to have two guys on each side of second base. This can no longer those weird shifts where might have a second fielder playing out in the shallow outfield and none of that stuff anymore. It's so now they're trying to make the game a little more offensive, trying to
Yeah.
get more spaces and gaps to get for guys to be able to hit the ball, and that's just kind of plays into once again interest. Guys, when people want to see runs getting scored, go to baseball games. They don't want to see 1-0 games. They want to see 8, 9, 10 runs being scored.
They were home runs.
Yeah. So, how do you feel about that, Jeff?
I have no problem with the shift going away. I mean, whatever's going to help get the most interest in Major League Baseball, I'm all for. I mean, they know they want to try to get more of an offensive game going on, so I'm perfectly fine with the elimination of the shift. I thought it was a little bit of a hindrance to the game anyway. So it's good. You know what it's going to do, and I'm glad you brought it up. It's going to bring an old school aspect to the game of baseball again. How many times do you really see a lot of people running on the bases anymore? You don't really see that as much because of the shift. Now you might seeing a lot of people taking chances on the base pass to try to pick up a stolen base at second or a stolen base at third. You might get more hit and runs. You might get more of the small ball aspect of baseball that was really a big thing back in the 90s, why it was so popular then. You might get that part of the baseball right back into this whole aspect. So I'm perfectly fine with the shift going away because it might open up things offensively going forward. So I have no problem with the shift going away, honestly.
And you said it, bingo, offense. People want the exciting plays. They don't want to see those games because the attention span now is what Zion said it is. Like, do I watch this game that's boring or do I go check out Game of Thrones, binge watch that because it's exciting, right? So now if you bring that element of excitement back by doing these minor tweaks here and there, it's like hockey, right? I think they eliminated offsides or something like that, or a 2-line pass where you can get offsides. Why? Because they want more scoring. They wanted less penalties at the top of the game. So,
That's facts.
This one's
And
gonna have to grow on me. Go ahead.
That's the one reason. My bad. No, that's the one reason why, and I'm hitting on the note you guys all did. And I'm not dissing baseball fans or baseball watchers, but that's one thing. Like, I didn't grow up watching baseball, so finally when I tried to get into it, it was hard because I have to wait like 50 minutes to see something. And don't get me wrong, I like listening to commentaries. And okay, that's a ball. Okay, that's a foul. Okay, that's that. But I truly believe that it speeds up the game and it adds my excitement.
Well, see, once again, man, I'm sorry, I got to play the devil's advocate
Go
a
for
little
it.
bit.
Go for
You
it.
know,
Do it.
I love the game of baseball, and I love the way it always was, and I like the fact that you can go out there and do whatever it is you got to do as a team to get the damn job done. And you're taking away a defensive aspect from the game once again to make it somewhat of a hindrance defensively. And it's like what the NFL's doing with all the NFL rules and everything. Can barely touch any damn quarterbacks and touch the receivers. You can't put a finger on these. Like, it's just like you're making it impossible to play defense. Like, defense is also a part of the game. These guys are professionals. If these guys are shifting, they're shifting. Then you, as a professional, got to figure out a way to counter that offensively. That's your job as a professional. You know what I mean? So to me,
You're
it's
right.
just like you're taking away an aspect of the game that is an aspect of the game. If you're a good defensive team, that makes you good as well. That's like something that can a good quality to have on the team is being a good, strong defensive team. If you don't have the horses on offense necessarily, you gotta hold your hat on something, and now you're taking that away. I think this is what this is going to do is just going to make the really bad teams that much worse, honestly. And that's my opinion of this rule change, because you're going to make it tougher defensively for teams that may be all they have is a couple of good Gold Glovers in the field and don't have many bats. You know what I mean? Offensively. So I don't know. I'm not sure about how I feel about this one. I think you should be able to allow a team to play defense the way they want to play defense. And I think this is just kind of, once again, you're just trying to, oh no, all anybody cares about is offense, scoring points. Look, either you're a baseball fan or you're not. Nobody forces you to go to the games. Nobody forces you to watch the games. Either you like the game and you want to watch it and you love it,
point.
or you
That's an
don't.
excellent point. Yeah.
Well,
You know,
I mean,
just
Jack, that
like-
works. That works with diehard fans, but like I know people who don't like NASCAR now because the stages in a race, right? And these guys, they're racing, jockeying for position, now have to stop, restart the whole damn race because they're doing these staging things so they can get a commercial break in. And the old school fans that I talk to are like, why can't we just watch the 250 laps and break in and out when you need to? And I agree with them, because when you're racing, you get all this adrenaline, then you have to stop. There's a crash. There's this, there's that. Now you have to restart that whole race from that stage. It really does take it away. But what do? They wanted to make it more exciting for the young fans. They want to make more money. They want to make the casual fan who loves stats and love video game gadget scoring to come in. Think about it, right? Fantasy football is not made for you, me, and Zion. Fantasy football is made for the average Joe who can sit there at his office and pretend that he knows, the game of football because some guys, he wins his fantasy league every once in a while. So the reason the NBA moved the 3-point line back, the reason the NBA is let the traveling go and don't play defense anymore. They want scoring. I mean, I'm watching a game right now. It's 126 to 126. Are you kidding me? NBA 126.
That's ridiculous. That's what I'm talking about.
Defense is a lost art in the NBA in general.
It's a lost art in every sport, it seems.
Yeah.
Like anymore. Yeah. Every sport tries to make everything just about the offense. Like, the hell with the defense. I don't know.
Because people don't have the
defense is a
patience
part
to
of
sit
every
there and
game.
watch a defense. They don't have the patience to sit there and watch a defensive game anymore. They don't want to love, what's so good about watching a defensive contest, whether it's basketball, football, baseball, whatever it is. People just want offense, scoring, touchdowns, home runs, baskets, everything, 3-point shots. It's the thing. People just don't have the patience. They don't have the. It's
the society, absolutely. And
fast.
I just wanted to say too.
NYG, real quick. Absolutely. If you're on the road and you ain't got nothing else to do,
yes,
watch Game of Thrones, bro. It is
I've got
definitely
an unpopular opinion.
worth your time.
I've got a popular opinion. I'm not a big fan of Game of Thrones. I've watched a little bit of it. I'm not. How
much seasons? How much seasons did you make it through?
Just one season.
You can't judge Game of Thrones off of the first season. You must sit there and I have to say that you must do whatever you want to do. This is America. This is not North Korea. I wasn't trying to dictate your watching time. But what I will say is, watch it as a fool. I know it's long. I know it does take time.
I'm just not a big TV person. That's why.
That's probably what it is. That's probably what it is. Yeah.
When we talk about these games, we're talking about Game of Thrones and all these things. This is exactly what we're talking about. Because our society is all gotcha. It's not about being and hard work and investigating and finding out what the real facts are. It's we need attention. We need and a game that's 128, 126 right now, right, is a good game. But back in the day, that was a blowout. We didn't
That
want
was all-star numbers. That was all-star game
That's
numbers.
exactly what it
there was
was.
a time in the mid-90s where you wouldn't even smell 100 points.
Yep.
You wouldn't even sniff 100 points. Look at Doncic show. He thinks
I saw that Kevin Durant blocked Kyrie Irving at the ran. Oh, that must have been fun.
What'd you guys' thoughts on Jokic might win another MVP?
Oh, he's terrific. He deserves. He should. They're the best team in the Western Conference by far. He should win an MVP. He's a big man that can literally facilitate the ball. I haven't seen a big man facilitate the ball that good since Arvydas Sabonis. He's really really that talented.
Oh
this guy is like a human triple double.
Yeah.
I mean, that's why I would take him over Embiid because he could do it all. He could shoot. He could control. Embiid.
But you know why people take Embiid? You know why people take Embiid? Because they love that flashy alley-oop. They love that. Well, you're not going to see Jokic go up. You're never going to see that. But what you're going to see is terrific passing for a big man.
Yeah, and he can shoot well. He could go in the low post. He can facilitate the ball. He can rebound. He can do it all. Plus, that team is just stacked now that they're healthy.
But the league better watch out when Victor gets in. Just watch
better
out.
hope.
First time All-Star, Victor
fellas.
Oladipo. Not Victor Oladipo. I'm sorry, Victor Wembanyama.
This is gonna be 1-5. Here's Zion right here. This is for you, Zion, man. Last night we had UFC 285 go down, man. The return of John Bones Jones stepping up to the heavyweight division, taking on Cyril Gane. Wasn't even a contest. Wasn't even a contest.
wasn't a contest. I know Mac. He watched the main event, but just kind of touch you guys up on what happened throughout the main card, and then we can get into the absolutely dominating force that is John Jones. We had Bo Nickel make his appearance. If you guys don't know who Bo Nickel is, he's an outstanding wrestler, one of the best wrestlers coming out of America in a long time from the NCAA. I'm not just saying that he's really great. Look his name up, Bo Nickel, NCAA wrestling. That being said, he had a tap out against Jimmy Pickett in his fourth fight. One fight in the independent region scene, 2 fights in the contender series. Coming into this fight at 3-0, submits Jamie Pickett, a veteran of the UFC, with almost 21 fights under his belt. Submits him in the first round. It was a nice choke. We had moving forward. I want to touch on Shavkat Rakhmonov, the future of the sport. He's now 17-0 with all finishers. Never been to a decision. He got a submission against Golf Neal last night. Golf Neal, I want to say, was in the fight. This was Shavkat representing the same country, Kyrgyzstan, that Borat is from. So that being said, they're getting into the UFC scene. So that being said, Borat, I believe, was at the fights last night too. So representing his countrymen. And that being said, domination, very, very nice. Domination, now Neal is a UFC vet, does have knockout power. There's a time in the first round where for 3 minutes of the fight,
he's a great boxer.
Absolutely great boxer. 3 minutes of the fight where Neal has knocked out Shavkat's mouthpiece, and we usually see these newer these not so developed fighters complain about that. Like, look to the referee, give him a mouthpiece. Not once looked to the referee, stayed in the fight, fought, got hit in the jaw a couple of times for 3 minutes, fighting without a mouthpiece. Finally, Herb Dean was able to stop the fight, give him back his mouthpiece. And then I would say he basically, I wouldn't say dominated Neal, but he looked like he deserved to be in that octagon with Neal. And he's slowly working up to be one of these top contenders in the welterweight division. So all I have to say is we have an exciting fight with Usman and Edwards coming out, but watch out Usman, watch out Edwards, watch out Masvidal, watch out Colby Covington, because Chimaev and Shakarov is here to stay, and both of them is the future of the sport. Moving on to the co-main event, we had Valentina Shevchenko, the second best female to ever do it outside of Amanda Nunes, on a 9-fight win streak, the best flyweight to ever hold the belt, the premier fighter losing losing to Alexa, a Mexican boxer warrior out of the country of Mexico. But not only was she a boxer, not only did she outstrike Valentina. When they came down to it, when they got to the ground, she was able to get back up on her feet. And not only that, give Valentina problems on her feet. We have never seen this from Valentina, vet problems. She outstruck the champ. Not only that, when the champ went for a spinning knee or something like that, she was able, not a spinning knee, a spinning back click or something like that, she was able to move to the side, take her back, crawl like a damn spider immediately and lock in a choke and submit a champ. And this girl came in as a stand-up fighter. Everybody thought she only had boxing. She proved why she deserves to be the champion right now. So she did dethrone one of the greatest females to ever do it outside of Amanda Nunes. So now Alexa Grossi is now the new female flyweight champion. And then moving on to the main event, I know Mac watched this fight, so I'm going to turn it over to him, and I want to get his thoughts on a dominant performance from Jon Jones.
I mean, like I was telling these guys before we went on live, man, I last night, I was working last night, so I didn't get to really sit back and watch all of the show too much, just little pieces here and there of the other matches. But when I was getting off in time to get home for the main event, so I thought, as I'm driving home, pre-match talk, I pull up in front of my crib. They walk into the octagon. The fellas walk to the octagon. I'm taking my time, doing some things in the car real quick before I go on. I ain't got to be going into all that detail. But but by the time I get in the crib, the fight is like I turn the TV on, get it on the TV. The fight is basically over, Joe. I see Gon just tapping out already, and it's only 2 minutes into the first round. This man came in as the heavyweight champion. Jon Bones Jones came in fighting on a 3-year hiatus, fighting his first ever heavyweight fight, carrying more weight than he's ever carried in his professional career, and went in there and absolutely looked like the GOAT, Jon Bones Jones. Just as dominant as ever. Looked as dominant as a light heavyweight. And now the sky's the limit with this guy, man. What can he not do in the octagon right now, man? Jon Bones Jones, he's that guy, man. He is an absolute animal in the octagon, man. He proved it once again last night, coming off that long, long hiatus, going against a guy that's one of the top heavyweights in the business, in the world, and took care of him like he was absolutely nothing. Like he was nothing. And Jon Bones Jones told him before the fight that I'm going to beat you like that because you're going to be overmatched. He told this man that. He said, you're overmatched. This is not a good matchup for you. And he went out there and handled his business. 2 minutes, 4 seconds into the first round. Fight over. Jon Bones Jones. Is he the GOAT? I don't know. Zion, how you feel about that, Zion?
Yes. I want to echo what Max says too. And he did. It was easy work. He said it was going to be easy work. It's easy work. And to give your non-MMA fans some context behind this, Jon Jones is now 27-1. His only loss is against Matt Hamill. That wasn't a loss, was a disqualification because he was kicking Matt Hamill's ass so fucking bad that he accidentally landed upwards elbow. Matt Hamill was bleeding and bloody after that fight. The reason what makes Jon Jones the GOAT is because he annihilated the whole lightweight division. At the time of the lightweight division was the best premier division in sport. Back in the day, the light heavyweight division was the lightweight division of 2023 in a sense. How stacked our lightweight division is right now was the light heavyweight division and the legends that he has. Not only has he never lost in the octagon, he has dethroned over 10 plus future X championships and fighting throughout generations of the sport. What I mean by generations is, he took out a whole generation of fighters, stayed in the sport, took out a whole nother generation of fighters, and now he's on his third generation of fighters with fighters like Ciryl Gane. When you have someone like Ciryl Gane that was just an absolutely nightmare for the heavyweight division, the way that he dismantled the heavyweight division was just never seen. He had struggled against the ex-champions in Francis Ngannou that didn't re-sign with the organization, and that's why this fight was scheduled. Mac was absolutely right on that. When Jon Jones was doing the interviews, he was saying that, hey, you're 11-1, You haven't proven anything. You haven't fought the people I fought. This is going to be easy work, and I'm going to show you guys what I'm about. The only reason why John Jones was outside of the shadows is you guys probably heard a lot of legal issues. But I truly believe if he never had none of these legal issues, this guy would be the highest, the top tier of any professional sport above, with the likes of your Michael Jordans of the world and stuff like that. This guy would be on Nike commercials. This guy would be doing all these ads and all these things, but legal issues set him back. What makes John Jones the GOAT is because when he had all of those title fights and when he was defending his title, he wasn't training. He was putting and doing cocaine. And then he showed up to the fight and just fought and dismantled the light heavyweight division. And now that we have him a focus, John Jones, and now that Tom Brady just doesn't go to the UFC fights. You know what I'm saying? The celebrities he bought out last night. It reminded me of like boxing in the 90s. And I know I was young and I didn't get the full effect on it. But if you know boxing in the 90s in Vegas, it bought out the celebrities. You know what I'm saying? It was just a packed house. And that's what it felt like last night, the return of John Jones. And the way he made it look so easy solidifies him as the GOAT. In basketball, you can have the debate because there's a lot of younger generation fans that want to debate and want to say that LeBron James is the GOAT. But we have a lot of diehard basketball fans that would say Michael Jordan is the GOAT. You can't have that debate in the UFC. GSP, he went on his run and he is one of the Mount Rushmores of the UFC. Khabib, he went on his one and he is undefeated truly. And then you may want to bring up Anderson Silva, maybe Amanda Nunes. But the thing that separates John Jones from all of them is Khabib. He had a washed record. He fought no names in Russia for like 19 of his fights. The first 16 fights, all of his opponents had losing records. So you don't count that. It's kind of like, I'm not trying to disrespect the game of boxing, but it's kind of like the reason why I was kind of picking Jake and I thought Jake had a chance is because you look at Tommy Fury's and the people he fought against. But no, Tommy Fury showed that, hey, I may fought against people that was like 29 and 222, but Tommy Fury showed why he's a boxer and what boxing is really about, right? When you look at Khabib's record is washed. So he only really has about 9 truly great performances. So he's really 9-0 against truly great people. When you compare GSP ran through the welterweight division and he did capture the middleweight title and he did run through everybody. But then GSP does have the plague of, the 2 losses. Even though he beat the 2 people, he still has that plague of the 2 losses. John Jones has never really been defeated, yet alone really tested. I can only account 3 or 4 fights that he was really tested out of his 27. But not only that, he is truly 28-0, dismantled over 10 champions. It's probably 15 at this point, and I don't want to forget about Mighty Mouse. Mighty Mouse deserves to be in the Mount Rushmore, but the only reason why I can't include Mighty Mouse too, because Mighty Mouse has shown to have a couple losses on his record too, and to get defeated by people that shouldn't have defeated him. Whether it be early on in his career or in one championships, it doesn't matter. He got defeated. John Jones just proven why he's the GOAT without a doubt. Why he's not, there's no comparison. There's no Michael Jordan, LeBron James debate. That's ended. John Jones is clearly the GOAT. And when he does beat Stipe in July or whenever they do fight, he'll just cement his legacy. And we're not going to see a fighter like John Jones in a long time. And some people want to say, and I even say that Shamaya and Shakurat is the future. But Shakurat, you have a long way to go. And Shamaya, you have a long way to go before you even get close to what John Jones have done. And I'm going to end it at that.
That was really good about Zion, by the way.
Like you said, man. At the end of the day, you got to remember that was John Jones' first heavyweight fight. I think it's only going to get better. It's not like he's not going to digress or regress anyway. It's only going to get better. So this guy is a special talent. Like you said, wasn't for all the legal issues, he'd be a more celebrated athlete right now than what he is. But he bought, like you said, he bought the stars out, and for good reason. He just went in there and made it look way too easy. I'm sure Cyril Gahn still has that ridiculous shocked look on his face.
Yeah, look at his face.
Disbelief that this dude really just did to me everything he said he was going to do, and made it look as easy as he said he was. that look on his face was priceless. He was just sitting there leaning
Yeah,
against the
you're sitting there
octagon,
like shocked.
just like what just did I really just get my ass kicked in 3
You know what the
minutes?
funny thing about it
Like
is, Mac?
in 2 minutes, I mean, like
A lot of these critics was kind of like, not a lot. So some critics that was talking about like the way John Jones looks. Like looks don't win you fights, guys. Yeah, Shogun may look like a damn Olympus statue and like great, posture and stuff. Look what John Jones did to that. And look at that look at Shogun's face. That perfect shot they took. Doesn't matter how you look. Your looks doesn't win you fights. Experience, time, and just skill and God-given gift. And that's one thing that I want to end on too. And you can obviously take over if you have anything to say, but like just the grace and the humbleness in the victory and the praise for he even knows that he messed up and God gave him these gifts. And I'm not trying to get religious on the show, guys, but God gave him these gifts and he messed up. And the fact that he was able to like just be a man of God and give all thanks to God and just the Jones household, man. You got Chandler Jones, you got Arthur Jones, like just the Jones household, man. Just winners in general. That being
absolutely.
said,
I
if you
mean, I
guys
know
want to
Jeff and Adam. I know you guys aren't the hugest,
move on,
biggest
yeah.
UFC guys. But got any thoughts? I know you know the name John Bones Jones. I don't know. You guys have any thoughts before we move on?
I mean, just to make it brief, because it's just impressive for a guy that's not been involved with anything UFC for 3 years. I mean, for me, I don't know if it's just the state of what UFC is right now for a guy to be gone for 3 years and then all of a sudden he steps right back in and becomes the world heavyweight champion. If that's an indictment on like the current crop of UFC fighters in the business right now, or if it's the fact that this guy is incredibly that good, even at his age, even stepping away from UFC for that long. So
I can
it's a
fairly say,
testament.
Jeff, that the UFC is the best it's ever been.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I didn't know. I didn't know if this guy
No,
was
no,
just a superhuman.
you did great. This like to answer that question is even if you're not a fan of the UFC, Jeff, I will you will get great
Appreciation
pleasure
for him.
in watching a Jones highlight on YouTube. Would I say that? Yeah.
Okay.
All right, fellas. Well, we can
How
go
much?
to
Taylor
move
Jones'
on.
brother?
Then we gonna
Did you say Daniel Jones is
is that
better?
Adam?
He said
Jones.
Chandler
Chandler
Jones,
Jones.
the defensive
Chandler
end.
Jones is his brother.
That's
I
right.
didn't know- I
Yeah.
never knew that. Jesus.
Yeah,
I
so
never
Yeah,
Chandler
knew
I
that.
did
Jones,
hear about that.
Chandler
Brothers,
Jones and
yeah.
Arthur Jones. Arthur Jones, I think he still plays for the Ravens. So Arthur Jones and Chandler Jones is his brothers. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was just about to ask that. I'm interested because
well,
I've been out of the
fellas.
loop. So what's going on in this universe, gang? I know that a lot of
It's
fun stuff's
crazy
been going
going
on.
on in the wrestling world, baby. It's crazy.
Let's get
We
it.
know what tonight is. AEW Revolution tonight.
Yes, sir.
It's going down. 60-minute Iron Man match to headline the show.
Mm-hmm.
MJF, Daniel Bryanson, or Brian Daniels, whatever the hell his damn name is. That
Same
guy,
thing.
Daniel Bryanson,
Yeah.
whatever his damn name. Always, whatever. They're going head to head, 60-minute Iron Man match for the AEW World Title, and there's a lot of other great matches on the card. Man, you got Texas Death Match with Moxley, Hangman Adam Page.
Spoiler,
You
there
got
will
a
be blood.
three-way. Got a three-way for the women's titles. Jamie Hayter defending against Saraya and Ruby Soho. You got the tag team title on the line, and a four-way with the champions, the Guns versus Acclaim, Jeff Jarrett, Jay Lethal, and Orange Cassidy and Danhausen for whatever reason. But
Somebody
no
gotta get
holds
pinned.
barred. Maybe will finally be the end of the feud with Christian Cage and Jungle Boy Jack Perry.
Quick correction for you, there, Mac. It's actually a last burial match.
Oh wow.
They actually on Rampage announced it's going to be called a last burial match, which could be like a buried alive match. If we're getting that tonight, holy shit, we're going to get something good.
We got the trios championship on the line. The Elite defending against the House of Black, who made a statement on Dynamite on Wednesday night. We'll talk about that in a few. AEW, I mean, it's just Mark Briscoe and the Lucha Brothers versus Ari Davari and the Varsity Athletes. That's on the pre-show. I mean, its card is loaded. I mean, this show, man. Wanted to take a little nap before this one tonight and get rested up for this one, man.
Yeah.
And this is an AEW pay-per-view tonight.
AEW Revolution, man.
Revolution,
Absolutely,
nice.
man. Jeff, man, give me some thoughts, man. What's going on tonight, man? How you feel about the show tonight?
Well, if I have to be a little bit critical of it, a lot of these matches in a way make absolutely no sense in terms of like booking or like creative booking or build up or anything. They just seems like they threw some of these matches together and said, these guys are going to be awesome. We're going to just watch them have 15, 20-minute banger matches. Because let's just be real, the Elite and the House of Black has been literally like a 2-3 week build this whole entire time. Not really a lot to marinate on it. But these two teams are going to go out there and just tear the house down. I mean, what else can I say about MJF? There's no bigger fan of MJF right now than I am. I could praise this dude. You could just sit out there and just do nothing except just give up facial mannerisms. And it's going to be like a 2-hour just amazing thing he could do. He's awesome. Tonight, he's going to show everybody why he's that good in the ring. And Bryan Danielson, I mean, this dude is going to give you a reason why he is the best or one of the best in the world when it comes to just being an in-ring technician. That 1-hour match, Iron Man match, is going to be out of this world, and people are going to be talking about it for the rest of this year. I can't wait for the last burial match. Christian Cage is easily one of the best heels in the wrestling business right now. With that promo that he cut on this past Wednesday of Dynamite, he is so good as a heel. God, it's so refreshing to have Christian back on television. Everybody loves Jungle Boy, love his theme song, love his look. Comes off like the prototypical baby face. That last burial match is going to be absolutely fantastic. Jon Moxley and Adam Hangman Page. This match is going to be brutal. This match is going to be intense. Weapons all over the place. Spoiler, there will be blood during the match. So if you're a little bit queasy when it comes to blood, I'd advise you to turn away because it's going to be pouring buckets. It's going to be pouring blood buckets out there in this match. It's going to be great. The tag team match, I'm a little bit wondering why the hell Danhausen and Orange Cassidy are in this match because Danhausen is too busy trying to curse people instead of actually trying to go out there and wrestle in any matches. But, I mean, they're just there for the comedy spots. I think Danhausen will end up taking the pin. I love the Guns. I'm a huge fan of the Guns overall. I love the makeup that they have right now. Who doesn't? We all do love the Acclaim, Scissor Me Daddy Ass, case in point. But at the same time, I think that the big turn in that match is going to be, I think we're going to get, I don't know if you agree with me, Mac and Adam. I think that eventually that Billy Gunn is going to turn on the Acclaim tonight. He's going to re-sign himself back with the Guns. So I think that's going to be that thing that's going to happen in the match tonight. And they're not going to get
I've been waiting for it to happen.
Take them out. I think it's definitely going to happen tonight. And honestly, that's why I think they're going with the Fatal 4-Way is because they're going to have the Acclaim get taken out but still look strong to set up the one-on-one match at Double or Nothing. And, I mean, the rest of the card, I'm really curious to see what's going to happen with Ruby Soho in this triple threat match because they've been building up the AEW original women versus the WWE, ex-WWE women that have come in. It's like a faction they're building up. I'm not as keen on like Toni Storm and Saraya as heels as much. I want to see how this is going to continue to build up during this matchup. I think the match is going to be very good. I mean, you have 3 quality women's wrestlers in this match. I think it's going to be great overall. I expect Hayter to retain. But either way, I'm curious to see what's going to happen after this matchup concludes. And then obviously the trios matchup is going to be tremendous. I can't wait for that match overall. An underrated match, Ricky Starks and Chris Jericho. I think that match could be underrated, really go. Love Ricky Starks. Remember, the Revolution is televised, everyone. Got to make sure you check out that one. Though I don't know if you saw it, Mac and Adam. They did have a trademark, Jericho. Jericho did fire that Jericho trademark. So I got a little nervous with that. I don't know if you remember Jericho back in the day with WWE. Mm. So I'm scared to death that certain you know who, a 7-foot dude, might come out during this match and cost Ricky Starks, who has no business losing tonight, might cost him the match tonight and give Jericho the victory, which could set up something at Double or Nothing. But either way, the build has been a little bit confusing. The matches that just got thrown on in the card have been a little confusing. But either way, AEW, especially when it comes to Revolution, they know how to deliver banger pay-per-views. And I expect this tonight to be another one of those terrific AEW pay-per-views. And I can't wait for the show tonight, especially watching MJF go out there and shut up the haters, that this dude could go out there and wrestle a 1 hour Iron Man match and where I'm wrestling to perfection. Because he's better than you.
I can't wait for that.
And he knows it.
Yeah, I can't wait for that one, man. That's just a match I've been waiting for. They build for that. If they, like you said, the build for the overall pay-per-view itself, not necessarily so great. The build for that match, however, has been
great.
Absolutely flawless. So I'm excited for that one, man.
Called him brain damage,
you been following the AEW at all, Adam?
I was just about to ask real fast. That Daniel guy, ain't that that guy from WWE?
Yeah. Yes.
I haven't followed it, but I did see a promo of what you guys are talking about, and I see Sting's 60-year-old ass jumping off a scaffolding. I am like, what is this man doing? What are you doing, Sting? You're going to die in the ring, bro. I mean, I thought Ric Flair was like, okay, Ric Flair, but Sting is still starting.
I didn't know he was still wrestling.
Oh, you just missed on Wednesday. Sammy Guevara almost killed himself on Wednesday multiple times in that match. They had his ladder match. He almost killed himself literally over 4 or 5 times.
It was just funny to see a 60-year-old man jumping off a scaffolding. I'm like, yo.
That's what's funny because, like you said, he not only still wrestles, he still does big spots.
He does. He does.
Like Sting is crazy, man. Like you talk unpopular opinion, you said Jericho's still wrestling. He's old. Yeah, Jericho's pretty up there too. But
like 50 plus.
Like we were just talking about Sting. Sting is still in the ring, and that man is in his 60s, still doing crazy shit.
Goldust is still wrestling. AKA Dustin Rhodes is still going out there putting on wrestling matches.
He's knocking on 60s door as well. He's got to be knocking on 60s.
So is Billy Gunn. I mean, like
yeah,
it's crazy.
Yeah, he mixes it up a little bit.
You know, it's not uncrazy, but it's just funny to see these guys get revitalized. See, I should be following AEW because all the guys I like are over there. I love CM Punk. I like John Moxley.
Oh no, he's not there now. CM Punk is
I mean,
gone.
he was, but like a lot of the guys that I followed moved there, and then then you get the WWE, which is just popcorn compared to what AEW.
Well, speaking of WWE, it is WrestleMania season as well.
Yep.
So we can touch on that a little bit, man. How's things been going down in the world of WWE? Seems like it's a bit of a transition. Vince might be getting his hands back in the pot a little bit. As you can tell by some of the things going on. This Omos and Brock Lesnar match at WrestleMania. That is.
You're not excited about that?
I'm still scratching my head at that, trying to figure out what is even the point of such a match, man. But what his obsession with Omos is, I don't understand.
He loves giants.
Klutzy. He's just
what
klutzy. He's big, clunky. It's just terrible. The Bray Wyatt, Bobby Lashley's thing, it's making zero sense at all. Like nothing. Like what kind of a build are we having for this match right now? It's just
the muscle
it's just been crazy. It's just been ridiculous, man.
What is this?
And then we saw Lashley taking out Uncle Howdy on now Friday night. When we're gonna find out the official reveal of Uncle Howdy? Is it Bo Dallas? Is it somebody else? When we gonna get the Wyatt 6? At what point do we move on with this storyline with Bray Wyatt and actually get it moving somewhere? Because it's almost like it's just like it's stagnant. Like you said, stagnant, like it's walking in quicksand. You know, it's just nothing seems to be happening with it at all, man.
I just think they're throwing a lot of things together because they want to fill 2 nights of WrestleMania. So they've got to put a lot of stuff together. Like SmackDown, they had all these guys come out for the Intercontinental title or whatever it was that they were doing. And I was like, yo, LA Knight would be perfect for this. Then they bring out another guy. I'm like, oh, this guy would be perfect. Oh, this guy. And then you're like, there's 8 of them.
I love LA Knight. LA Knight is so good.
I think he's
I love him.
Let me talk to you.
His mic skills are amazing.
I think he's coming around. I think the fans are starting to like, okay, this dude comes out every night. Let me talk to you, and you're just like, okay,
so good.
And I hope they push him because they squashed him with the Bray Wyatt match, which made no sense, right? No storyline anymore. Now he's not getting the recognition he deserves, and you'll know if Vince McMahon is back when all these guys that we like or don't move ahead. Like if Cody Rhodes doesn't win the title, I'm not watching WWE anymore. I'm going to stop watching it for a long time because just move on. Move on. It's a predetermined thing. Okay? It's not like John Jones, right, who can beat somebody's ass for years to come and be a champion because he actually has to work at it. Roman Reigns sits there and they write something in the back for him. And he does a spear, and that's it. So to me, in order for this product...
So the bloodline is still 100% active and everything like that?
They're going to be going against Roman's going against Cody. He's going to go against Cody Rhodes.
They're the only thing that they feature on WWE because it's just
because I'm not trying to sound out of the box, but like to be honest, like I haven't really watched WWE since I last talked to you guys. So like I maybe see stuff on my phone and stuff, but like are they planning on not to interrupt your point, Adam? So I apologize, but that's what you're hoping for. So the hope is that Cody Rhodes ends that dynasty.
He should, but will he if Vince McMahon is here?
I'm a little worried he's not.
Because I'm getting sick.
No, there's no way. There's nothing. There's no benefit Roman Reigns retaining the title at WrestleMania. It's just no benefit in it. Right now, look at all the shambles the bloodlines in with the Usos situation, the Sami Zayn thing from the Royal Rumble. That's now where he's just an absolute thorn in their side. I mean, what's going to happen on SmackDown Friday night now? What's Roman going to go out there and do? Is he going to go out there and fuck Jimmy Uso up now? I mean, he said if he can't get the job, doesn't get the job done. He said he's not blaming Sammy anymore. He's blaming Jimmy. What's going to happen? I mean, obviously the Jey Uso thing is still a mystery. All these things all have to be answered, in my opinion, before WrestleMania. Because one thing's for certain and two things for sure: those damn tag team titles have to be on the line at WrestleMania in some capacity. And however it's going down, whether it's Jimmy and Solo Sikoa defending them, whether it's Jimmy and Jay defending them, some kind of capacity, those titles got to be on the line in some kind of way, and they got to bring this storyline full circle and get it. I mean, that's what I mean. Like, you can start a storyline, but you got to know how to wrap it up too. And at this point, the bloodline, there's no benefit in the bloodline continuing forward past WrestleMania, being the dominant faction, just having this stronghold on the WWE, entire WWE, to be honest.
Well, I would say the only reason why they might continue Roman Reigns as champion is because he's approaching 1,000 days as champion, and they might want to have him be a champion for that long since it's literally right there. I mean, he pretty much be like around 950 days, I believe, as WWE World Champion. And if Vince McMahon has any say in it, he's like, I want Roman to be 1,000 days as champion. No way am I going to allow him not to be champion 1,000 days. But what's going to happen.
But that's just stupid, though. Just to get a milestone that's fake?
No, I know. Fake. I'm not saying I do it, but Vince would probably think about it. He wants him to have that type of accolade. Yeah, because
I'm tired of Roman Reigns. I'm tired.
Yes, they do.
The reason why I'm tired of Roman Reigns is because this faction has made him look weak. Okay, this guy is supposed to be the big dog, the powerhouse, and he comes out here with these guys who do all his bidding, and it's not even like the evilest guy I've seen on TV. I've had the Ted DiBiase's, I've had Bam Bam Bigelow's, I've had Jake the Snake Roberts. They're more vicious people than an asshole. Roman Reigns, because that's what he's acting like, an asshole. That's it. I mean, you have Seth Rollins, who you're wasting, doing nothing, chasing titles he doesn't even chase. Right? He's like the Macho Man.
When they're doing the title, I like that.
He should be in the top of the card, main eventing WrestleMania right now. The best match of the year last year.
Instead, he's going against Logan Paul.
He's fighting Logan Paul.
The match is going to be great. It's going to be a great
match. The best match last year was Cody Rhodes versus Seth Rollins with one arm. Okay, that was the best.
Yes.
Right now, you're telling me you don't think there's still a storyline about that? Like, we need to see Seth Rollins not fighting celebrities like Logan Paul, which the match will be fun. But let's be real, it's Logan Paul right now. How is he coming here and he's going to be a wrestler now for the next 5 years, or is he just doing this to boost his podcast and leave for another few months? Like, what are we talking about here? Seth Rollins goes in day in and day out.
Sure, it's the latter.
Gets no respect, okay? Is thrown in these stupid matches with dumb talent. You really think he should lose to Austin Theory? Give me a break, okay? Austin Theory, I know they're trying to push him like the next John Cena, but let's be real, okay? You got to pay your dues, kid. All right. I mean, you got guys like Gunther.
Well, no,
Why are we not having a big match for that guy?
Austin Theory's looked really good lately, though. He's coming off like a
no.
top guy right
See,
now.
no, I like no. Vince McMahon was getting ready to ruin Austin Theory on all the
Yes,
things.
yes.
Vince
Yes.
McMahon was trying to shoot that kid straight to the moon, and Triple H did a great job coming over and dialing him back and letting his development go the way it's supposed to. And I really do like the work they're doing with Austin Theory right now
I
as a
agree.
U.S. champion. I like the way they're doing. It's the right way. Like you said, paying your dues, working your way up to the top. You don't just
Look
get
what
to
they're
go.
doing with Gunther.
You don't just get past to the top. The Continental title, yes, indeed, it still exists, and it's been made quite prestigious now with the champion Gunther, who has just been holding on to that title and been in banger after banger after banger as
But
he's
see, he
defending
doesn't use his
that
goons
title
the same
against
way.
everybody that's gotten in his way. Everybody that's gotten in his way, he's knocked them down. I mean, he took out Sheamus twice. I mean, been through the Big Show. The Big Show with the Braun Strowman, Riddick.
Might as well call him the Big Show.
Ricochet.
I'm just saying,
But,
I just think that guys like that need to be pushed to the top. And we're sitting here, we have Roman Reigns sitting up here, and his whole cronies do all the work. I mean, Solo doesn't do shit, right? He does a few matches here and there. I heard this guy was supposed to be better than all three of them, right? He does nothing but be an enforcer. Paul Heyman.
Well, he's their enforcer.
Paul Heyman being a waste of a manager. Like, he doesn't really serve a purpose. Like Brock Lesnar, you knew the purpose. Brock didn't talk. That was his whole gimmick. You're like, all right, we don't want him to be on the mic. That's why Paul Heyman. My name is Paul Heyman. Now you have I'm the wise man. Give me a break.
I have a question. I could always Google it, but I want to ask you guys, being that we're talking about WWE and it brings content to the show. Three wrestlers that I really do admire and I really do like watching their careers. I want to know like what's their stats on going into WrestleMania, if they have any exciting matches up. We're gonna go at AJ Styles, we're gonna go at Finn Balor, and we're gonna go at Alexa Bliss.
Finn Balor
AJ
is
Styles
arguably the most. And Finn Balor is honestly one of the most underrated feuds. I cannot wait for Edge and Finn Balor at WrestleMania. That match is gonna be awesome, and they're teasing Hell in the Cell with those two. With Edge as a brood character.
That's the way you resolve. That's the way you resolve it.
Yes,
AJ Styles is out.
Awesome.
No, he's not going to be available for WrestleMania.
Yeah.
And Alexa Bliss, I don't know what the fuck happened to her since Royal Rumble. She has not even been seen or heard.
Is she still doing that demonic thing?
Yeah, she's been teasing
Wyatt.
Wyatt.
Like I said, she hasn't been around since Royal Rumble though. She lost to Bianca Belair, and that was the last.
But Finn Balor has the exciting match against Edge.
Yes,
that's the one.
Yes.
Because I watch every WrestleMania, but I need to get more involved so I can actually understand what's going on at WrestleMania and why these matchups are happening.
I mean, Bianca versus Asuka, I think is going to be a good match. If you're going to lose the title,
that could be a show stealer.
If you're going to use a strap, if you're going to drop a strap, Asuka's not a bad person to drop a strap to. Let's be honest. She can carry her
character she's got.
She's a good villain right now, or anti-hero if you want to call it that. I believe maybe it's just me. I have a crush on Asuka, but I always thought she's a Hall of Famer in my eyes.
I feel like WrestleMania, Asuka's going to go full heel. I think she's kind of already been teasing it a little bit. I think she's going to go full heel and take that title off of Bianca at WrestleMania.
Did Bayley ever come back?
Yeah, Bayley's in a matchup too. She might take on Stratus.
I think it's time for Bianca to lose the strap too. She's done a good job. She's keeping the strap on these people so long kind of stagnates. Like, yeah, we know they're good, and we know you want a marketable player. But to me, what AEW does and WWE does is the shock value. You watch the shock value on AEW because that's what you watch wrestling for. When I was a kid growing up, you watch these pay-per-views and then you hear someone's music hit, Stone Cold, The Rock, and oh my God, the goosebumps and you're flying, right? The WWE has become so predictable that you lose that shock value. You have to wait till like the Royal Rumble or wait till something happens. And then when they do come back, it's either a one-off or they don't book the guy correctly. Like when Edge came back, he should have had the titles. We shouldn't be talking about Roman Reigns right now. We shouldn't have been talking about Edge being the title holder, getting his title back that never lost. You could have put a bow tie on that storyline and made it great, right? Instead, we have Edge coming back in spot duty, getting beat up, all this stuff. And I like it, but You could use that guy. AEW has fucking Sting jumping off a scaffolding, doing these crazy things, keeping him involved in the. I wouldn't be surprised if at some point he's going to be in pursuit of some championship over there against somebody, So to me, I just think that WWE, when you keep champions long, you make your product stale, and when you get stale, you lose fans. And when the other product is doing better, I mean, look how excited you guys were talking about this AEW pay-per-view. Just the sheer magnitude of this. I don't know half these matches.
Well, did you see Elimination Chamber by any chance, Adam? Because that pay-per-view was absolutely phenomenal.
It was good. It was good. Yeah. But they need to do more of that. And that, you know what I mean? And right now, their storylines are lacking. You got guys in limbo. Bobby Lashley against Bray Wyatt. What for what reason?
Makes no
sense. Braun Strowman should be there. The title. Why are we not defending the tag team titles? Instead, we're saying, we need you, Jey Uso. Give me a break. Who cares? You don't like the bloodline? Screw it. If they can't fight for the titles, you forfeit and lose. Keep it moving. Like, this is getting on my nerves. You know what I mean? Sami Zayn, his storyline should have commenced at fucking WrestleMania. Because the problem now is he's hot, but you can't put the title on him because you need to put the title on Cody Rhodes. And right now, you're losing out that meteor right now, which is Sami Zayn, which he would be over. I think it would be a Daniel Bryan-esque type moment for him to win the title. The underdog, the whole thing, the crowd would go fucking bananas for it. And you kind of are stuck because now you have to have Cody Rhodes win the title, and then you have no storyline behind it.
Is it guaranteed that Cody's even winning the title? I don't even know.
Real quick, especially, I feel like he is. But how do you feel about that promo on SmackDown with Cody Rhodes and Roman to open up the show on SmackDown? Jeff, how do you feel about that?
Cody Rhodes part.
Yeah, I was really lukewarm on that myself.
Yeah.
I thought it was actually like you expect so much more when you make it a big deal. Oh, I'm gonna. He was on Raw. Okay, Roman Reigns is gonna be at SmackDown Friday. Okay, well, I'm gonna be there too. I'm gonna make an appearance at SmackDown too. And then you get there, and it's just like this bland ass promo. These two standing in the ring, then they end up shaking. Like, what are you shaking hands for?
You want me to be honest, Matt?
You're not buddies. This ain't about being a good fucking sport. You're supposed to be one of the top deals in the industry right now.
No, you're right. Yeah,
you're shaking this dude's hand.
I didn't like Roman Reigns' part. I thought Cody Rhodes. I thought he was right where he needed to be. In terms of promo, but I thought Roman Reigns being dumb, like, oh, let me shake your hand. I love Dusty Rhodes. Like, who cares, bro? Like, you're the freaking tribal chief. You never shake anybody's hand. Now I'm supposed to believe you're all gonna. This is what I mean. He needs to go. Roman needs to go. His character can't get any more deep. His character is at a standstill, right? I think he needs to take some time off, come back as the Roman Reigns from the Shield. And be the hero that everybody wants, and then Cody Rhodes goes in, turns evil, and becomes the actual American Nightmare, right? They make him an evil kind of person. He lies and cheats and steals his way to the top. And then you have somebody come in like Roman Reigns a few months later to be like, I'm back, and I'm going to save the WWE, something like that. Because I'm just tired of looking at Roman Reigns and his fucking fake-ass teeth.
I gotta be... Yeah, I don't like the teeth either. It's kind of scary looking. I don't care. I'm not having as much interest in this feud right now because it just feels like it's being forced. It feels like it's being rushed. There's not enough time to actually
build it up. There's no other belts to go after.
And because Sami Zayn and Roman and the Bloodline was so good for all those months with every single twist and turn they had, and it had you on the edge of your seat waiting for something to happen, that's just like random as hell that Cody just steps right back in with like 4 or 5 weeks to go, and they're trying to build up something for WrestleMania, but it just feels like it doesn't have a chance to marinate.
Well, the issue is that the Cody Rhodes injury stunted everything.
Yes, it did.
Because the Cody Roman match should have already happened. Maybe even that could have been like the Royal Rumble match or something like that. For instance, that match should have already happened, and unfortunately, the injury to Cody. That it derailed that. So they bring him in the Royal Rumble, bring him back at the Royal Rumble, enter him in at 30, he wins, gets the title match at WrestleMania. But the issue is maybe they, for whatever reason, didn't see the Sami Zayn blowing up the way it did as far as he's all the way over. He'll never be more over probably at any point in his career than he is right now. Like you said, so the picking, like it is the time. If you were going to put a title on Sami Zayn, this is the time, and unfortunately, I think they feel obligated to still give Cody the opportunity that they were going to be, that we already knew he was getting anyway, and now it just got pushed back because of the injury. And that's unfortunate I feel like it's unfortunate for Sami Zayn. Because like I said, right now, there's nobody more over in the whole damn company. Did you see him when he was walking through wherever he was at, walking through the airport or wherever on SmackDown? They were showing him, he's recording a little video for whatever, and he was just like he couldn't even hear himself speak because everybody was chanting his name walking through the airport. Sami Zayn is all the way over, and they're missing an opportunity with him right now, and it's unfortunate because he may never get an opportunity like this again. To be quite honest,
unless they do what they did with the WrestleMania, where they had Daniel Bryan just insert himself into the match with Edge and Roman Reigns, because again, I think that match was supposed to be, that was a match that was given to Edge because he won the Royal Rumble, and then they kind of pivoted because Daniel Bryan was like, I'm unhappy, I have to pout, I need the title as well. And so I can see them easily throwing Sami Zayn in there to give him his WrestleMania moment. And that's the only way I could see you giving the title away to Cody, is that at least Sami Zayn's in the ring and there's enough, Sami Zayn Kalua kicks Cody and pins the title and he doesn't beat the Roman Reigns, and you can continue the storyline if you want. That's how you can make it work. But right now, Cody's going to have to win the title, because it would be pointless to have had him win the Royal Rumble to lose the fucking title. Because then it's like, well, you might as well just have The Rock win and walk in. Like John Cena, I know, probably coming back next week, right, for WrestleMania. Why don't you have him win? Like, it's just like, to me, it's like, we know what's going to happen. Just make it a good match. And either split the titles up where you can say, hey, Sammy, we're going to give you the heavyweight title. Cody, you're going to get the Universal title, and go from there.
What do you do with Kevin Owens then? Because Kevin Owens, in my opinion, should still be involved in the world title picture too, with how hot he's been as well. I argue that Kevin Owens has been as over.
But him and Sammy fighting for a belt, that to me is the ultimate culmination of, you did it without the bloodline, or helping him beat Roman for the title, so that Sammy can get it, and then he has to owe Kevin Owens. Said, I'm the man who came out there and helped you beat him. Now you go beat me for the title. Whatever. You can do so many things. Obviously, not listening to Premium Takes because we just gave them gold right there. You know what I mean? But yeah. We'll see what happens. But to me, it's just like, I like WWE, but they have this tendency where they're like, we're the big bad boys of the fucking wrestling world. You're going to watch whatever crap we put out there because you're WWE fans, right? As opposed to AEW, who still feels like, we still need to captivate your hearts every night because we think we're an independent organization, even though they're big, right? It's like New Japan. You watch them too. They're crazy. They do crazy shit over there as well. I mean, the day I fell in love with AEW was when I saw Dean Ambrose pile drive somebody through a glass table. I said, wow. I'll never see anything like this in WWE.
That was Kenny Omega, I think, that he
Kenny
did.
Omega. It was Kenny
on Dynamite,
Omega.
yeah.
It was on Dark. It was on Dark, actually.
Was it? Oh, it was on Dark? I remember doing a call.
Yeah, absolutely.
It was in the backstage.
DDT or shift on him.
And he just did this move, and it was through a glass coffee table. I was like, wow, that is something I've never seen before. Right? In the WWE, I feel like they need to start to get back to that level, and don't disappoint me on WrestleMania for 2 nights. I know it's 2 nights, and that's why I agree with Triple H making it smaller. It should be 1 night, man. There was 2 nights.
Yeah, I agree.
Just go back to the 1 night.
It's one badass night of wrestling.
Yeah,
that's all you need.
Right.
Yeah.
But the thing is, like, you do it with every other paper. You got like a 2-day fucking elimination chamber, 2-day Royal Rumble. Hey, we're at WrestleMania number 100 because we're fucking running the Royal Rumble for 2 days straight.
There's one thing that definitely needs to happen at WrestleMania 2. I don't care who's there. Charlotte Flair better not walk out of that WrestleMania as still with SmackDown Women's Champion. That should definitely be Rhea Ripley's. You might as well give that title to her. Well, you never know. I mean, we thought it was going to happen 3-4 years ago, and look what ended up happening. So she's fighting Rhea Ripley.
Yeah, but this is different. I think Rhea Ripley now is way.
She needs to win.
She's so far.
She's the best women's wrestler right now in that company.
She's. If you talk about Sami Zayn being hot, I think Rhea Ripley has a lot of heat right now as well.
Yeah.
Same way, exactly. I hate to say that.
I love Dominic right now.
I love Finn Balor, but I think the leader is Rhea Ripley. Like, I feel like if you don't have, like, Judgment Day is good, but Rhea Ripley is really the selling point to it because she's so big. Like, she's like China with not as ugly as China, right? She's still kind of the same.
And her dynamic with Dominic is so good. The way they keep going
Are
back
they
and forth.
dating? I'm kind of lost.
Dominic is great. Dominic
Like,
has been
are they
awesome
dating?
with
Are
me.
they supposed to be an item? Like, what is happening here?
I don't know. She's
Well,
calling her mommy.
Like, I don't. Yeah, that's kind of creepy, man. It's like, okay, like, is this a sexual thing? Like,
Is that
hey,
Dominic Mysterio's son?
they
Yeah.
kind of sell it like that. They do kind of sell it like that a little bit on the show.
well, if he's saying,
good.
I
Dominic
want to see him face
is
Rey
doing the best
Mysterio.
work of
Get
his
it over.
career.
It's
Well, that's going to happen at WrestleMania. That's going to definitely happen at WrestleMania as well. You're going to get that match.
Can we end that, please? Because it's kind of boring.
Ray.
Do you think
Well,
the
it's just because once again, it's like I say, you always can start stories, but they don't know how to. They say they don't know how to properly finish stories, and they got this kind of dragging out to a point where it shouldn't. This should have already been resolved, and now here we are going to. This is most likely going to be a match at WrestleMania. Dominic against his father, so against Rey Mysterio, and that's you know how I feel about it. That's not a match I get overly excited to see, but they might be able to entertain a little bit.
Father getting beat up by his son.
The show stealer is definitely going to be Sheamus, Drew McIntyre, and Gunther for the IC title. That match is going to be
You
incredible.
got to see if that's what it's going to be. You never know. They might throw
Incredible.
after SmackDown. They might throw a gauntlet at Gunther at WrestleMania. So we don't know if that's going to even be the match. Honestly,
Maybe it'll save Karrion Kross's career.
Well, see, I think
that's a guy right there that they need to do a lot more with. That's pissing me off. Is a guy
He's
of
not
his
getting
talent
over.
of his skill set. They got to do more. They just got to do more. Karrion Kross is top notch, man. This dude, when he back in his day, when he was Killer Kross and Impact, back in the day, man, this dude, he can get over with a crowd. He's got sexy ass Scarlett right there with him. That's enough to get over. I mean, that gets over with me as it is right there. But
That's a win right there.
checkbox man. Pretty lady coming down the ring with you.
It's a disappointment, though, man, what they're doing with Karrion Kross. I feel like they're just wasting away the talent of him. All you got to do is put him in some better matches in general. We don't want to see him against Rey Mysterio. Let's see Karrion Kross in there against the Gunthers, against the McIntyres, the Sheamuses. Those are the guys, Karrion Kross. That match with Drew McIntyre in the cage, come on, man. Forget about it, man. That shit was a banger, man. Karrion Kross can get in the ring and perform with guys like that at that level. Yet we're sitting there putting them against old-ass luchador Rey Mysterio and shit like that. Nobody don't want to see that, man. That's that shit. Nobody wants to see that.
How come they don't give? I just like his entrance. That's why I want him to win the title. But how come they
It's
don't
one
give
of the best ring
Drew
entrances
McIntyre
in the damn industry.
Right. Yeah. Why don't they? Why don't they like give like Drew McIntyre like the title?
Because they're bitches. Okay,
He's a champion. You look at the guy; he looks like a face of the organization.
They had the chance to clash at the castle in his home country, and they didn't do it.
And they should have done it then, because you know what? You just made Drew McIntyre look weak. Okay, Roman Reigns isn't this great champion. I mean, he's had it for days. But when I go down the great champions in my mind, I'm not thinking about Roman Reigns. Okay, and when you waste guys like McIntyre, who should be he has like 2 title reigns, but one was during COVID, where he carried your company through one of the darkest times of its history in our country, but mostly in wrestling. The fan reaction is needed. That's how you kind of build the show, is around the fans. And when you had no fans, and this guy is still Claymore kicking people through walls and shit, you did him dirty like this, right? And yes, he beat Goldberg. Yes, he beat Brock Lesnar. But like those are like hand me legends, where you're like, oh, okay, you beat them and it makes your career. Why are you beating those guys and then get beat by Roman Reigns, and then you go to his home title and embarrass him like that?
No, I'd give the title to LA Knight. I give the title to LA Knight. How good he is! I mean, that guy's a world champion every time it comes out.
My biggest problem with the Roman Reigns title reign is like I was okay with it in the beginning, but now it's like you're making everyone look inferior to him. And that's what my biggest problem with it is. You're making everyone look inferior, no matter who they are. It's just like it doesn't seem like it doesn't matter. Like Gunther's been on this amazing Intercontinental title run. When are they going to even mention him in a potential, storyline for the world title? At what point does he get to step up? He has the record-setting title run in NXT in NXT UK. He had a record-setting title run of like 800 and some odd days of having that title. I mean, Gunther is legit, man. This dude is not just a big guy. He moves around well. He's a great athlete, man. He's a superstar. He's a true superstar. And like, as once again, like I said, about this being what you said, with wrestling being so scripted like it is, we don't need to see long 700, 900 day title reigns. Other people are out there busting their ass too. When's it going to be someone else's turn? At the end of the day, Roman Reigns ain't the only one over with the crowd. There's plenty of other people, man. You just got to get their opportunities. Like, act like you know that they're out there working their asses off too, working their tails off, and they want to be at the top of the mountain at some point before it's all said and done as well.
That's why, like, I agree with you can continue, I'm sorry.
I think Gunther's dropping that title at WrestleMania, and then he's going to make the jump to the world title. I think they want to make that IC title look as prestigious as possible, which he's done. Then he's going to drop it to either Sheamus or Drew, most likely Sheamus, and then he's going to go up and start elevating himself towards the world title. We know what they do with the mid-card titles. You get yourself over with that mid-card title. You make it look strong. It builds you up as the next main eventer in that company, and that's exactly what Gunther's did. That's what they're doing with Austin Theory on with the U.S. title. And eventually when they drop it, they feel like they're ready to make that elevation towards the world title status. And I think that's exactly where Gunther is going. He'll drop the title at WrestleMania to Sheamus. Sheamus will finally be able to have that IC title for the first time. And that's when you're going to see Gunther being elevated to the world title picture where he belongs, because he's easily one of the most dominant figures we've seen in wrestling in a very long time, other than what they've done with Roman. Gunther's been so good.
I like that point, and I was gonna echo what Mac was saying before you spoke, Jeff. Was I'm not a fan of the WWE, but I used to be a huge fan of the WWE, and the reason why I love the WWE is because yes, it is scripted, but it's not fake, because these people, these athletes, they put their bodies on the line every single night for multiple days a year. But you brought up a great point, Mac. You brought up a great point, Adam. And then Jeff is always dropping knowledge on the WWE with these knowledge bombs. The one thing that made it so fun, and Adam spoke on it earlier, is like when we watch a scripted movie or a scripted TV show, one thing that makes TV shows so fun watching is because the character development and then the shock values when something happens. Speak on Game of Thrones. The narrative, the time invested into the show, and then finally something happens that changes the landscape of everything. It kind of feels like what I'm hearing from this is the WWE is missing that thing that made them famous from the Attitude Era and the eras in the past, was when you're investing so much time to these companies, putting in over 5 hours of watch time each week for them, they're not delivering on the shock value. The script is becoming more like a money grab. Let's go make Fast and the Furious 10 just because. It seems like the script is just being more of a money grab, more of a 2 nights. Let's bring more fans. Let's take over the whole weekend. It should be like a Super Bowl event. Screw one day. People should know this as WrestleMania weekend. It kind of feels like listening to you guys talk, like Jeff, Adam, you guys even Mac brings up some great scripts that is gold and that is going to create shock value to the WWE. But it just seems like they're winning. They're like a Marvel in Phase 4 in a sense. I love the MCU, but like we're already winning, so we can just release project after project and script as a script, and they're gonna come back because it's the MCU. Well, they're gonna come back because it's the WWE, and it kind of feels like it's getting outplayed, and it needs some spice and some. This changes the landscape of everything because this is written into the script, and it kind of feels like they're missing that. That's why AEW is kind of rising up as a more. They're never gonna overtake WWE because WWE is an imprint, but a more premier brand. Would I say?
Well, I will say this: WWE's program has been a hell of a lot better than it has been in the past.
Okay.
The matches Triple H has been, for the most part, in charge of the creative, and matches have felt a lot better, especially the pay-per-views. Some of these pay-per-views have been incredible from what we've seen in previous days. Some of these guys have gotten over very good. The problem is Triple H recently brought back a lot of people that Vince McMahon released, but they're not getting over with the crowd. And that's why when Mac, you're talking about Karrion Kross, why he should be booked better. The problem is this dude's not getting over. people when they're putting
He's
him
not
in.
getting
you try
over
to
with the
put him in.
crowd because they're putting him in lame ass matches with
But you
people
put
that he
it-
shouldn't be in the ring with. You put him in the
But he's
ring
also
with
on a
people he
Put
should
him in
be
a
in the
steel
ring
cage
with.
match. He's not getting over with somebody like Drew McIntyre. Rey Mysterio is the ultimate babyface. That's why they're putting him in there, because Rey
Madcap
Mysterio
Moss gets
still
more
gets
play time
reactions.
than Karrion Kross.
Even the
Karrion
women's
Kross,
division is not getting over.
You put Karrion Kross in enough good matches, he'll be way over. When he was down in NXT, he had that fucking banger with Keith Lee. That match was absolutely amazing. You can't tell me the crowd wasn't feeling Karrion Kross after that match. Unfortunately, he got injured in the match, had to relinquish the title the day after he fucking won it, and then you know how that story, whole story goes. Obviously, he has to come wait till he's back, able to get back in the ring. He comes back. They put him up on the main roster. They take Scarlett away from him. They put him in some stupid gladiator fucking outfit gear, ring gear, looking all stupid and shit. Let that man get in the ring with people that on his level that he should be in the ring with, and he'll put on banger after banger after banger, and he will be over with the crowd. But you keep putting them in the ring with the Rey Mysterios and Madcap Mosses of the world. That's not what people want to see a guy of Karrion Kross's ilk in the ring with. They want to see him in there with the Sheamuses and the Drew McIntyres on a regular basis. And those kind of matches, he should absolutely be in the mix for at least a mid-card title. At least, if you're not going to have him in the world title mix, he should definitely be in the mix for the United States or the Intercontinental title mix. I mean, it's just not acceptable to me, because you know what a guy like that can do in the ring, and you're not doing him any justice by putting him in all these little lame ass storylines. Put him in something legitimate, and he will be over. He'll get over with the crowd. It's just a matter of how you're booking him. Don't use that. Don't use we tried this, we tried. No, do it the right way, and it'll get over. That's what the bottom line is. I mean, if Vince McMahon just does what he can to ruin certain people, I feel like, and it's just ridiculous at this point. Karrion Kross is,
Well, that's what I mean,
one of
because
the
Vince McMahon,
most legit
because of what
guys
he
you got.
did.
Well, but I mean,
Because of what they did.
Karrion Kross came in. He was poorly booked when he came to the main roster. He was doing all this TikTok shit. Then he left for a while, right? They didn't know what they were doing. Rebanded him. He left again. He was hot when he first came up. That's when they should have put him in there and built him up. Now you have too many people on the roster. You don't have enough screen time for everybody. He's on a show like SmackDown where he can't get in because it's only 2 hours. Raw is better suited for a guy like him. However, when you also have limited titles and these long title reigns by other guys, you don't get to feature guys. Why do you think Austin Theory is featured? He's holding a title. That guy could easily be Karrion Kross and fall off to the wayside if they don't want to book him. The only way they keep him prominent and relevant is because he has a title. His job now is to lose that title and go after like a guy like Gunther. Right? Then you can recultivate and give a guy like Karrion Kross that title and really build it up. The problem is you're throwing titles on guys to try to keep them happy when you're not doing it right. Like we talked about Seth Rollins, right? One of the best. If you were talking about Hulk Hogan in his era, he had like Ultimate Warrior, Macho Man. He had a bunch of guys on that roster with him. Seth Rollins is our modern day Macho Man. He's a guy that is just all good heel, good bad guy. Revolutionized his character, was with a great faction, and you treat him like dog crap, right? Because why? You want another guy to come in. Karrion Kross is one of those guys where you're not. I every time I see Karrion Kross, I look at him and I go, "That's a Vince McMahon title holder. That's a strap holder right there." The way his look is, his build, he's a huge guy. You can arguably put him in with those guys like Drew McIntyre and not be like, "Oh well, I hope he's the underdog." You know, like with a Sami Zayn, where maybe in a real fight, this may not be the same, outcome, right? But because it's scripted, we can get away with certain things. So I think what we need to do is right now is for wrestling to find its identity. Because Madcap Moss, he has we're happy about Madcap Moss for getting stripes on his pants. He's like, yeah, man, I got stripes on my pants. Woo, let's go. And as much as I like Madcap Moss, I think Karrion Kross is better right now with his character. I mean, he's already got a character. He doesn't need to try to manifest this random one with the, I forget the girl that
Emma.
Emma, who is not great either, right? Madcap's got this. You can do the dark angle. He should be in the dark match with Bray Wyatt. That would have been cool, right? Because they both have dark demonic kind of characters. You could really push things up and go. Instead, he fights Rey Mysterio. He fights guys who aren't really doing. Rey Mysterio's in limbo. He's just on there collecting a paycheck. You know he's never winning a title. He's still fighting and feuding with Dominic. And he gets into the ring with Karrion Kross. It's kind of like...
I just think that Triple H brought back way too many people. I think he brought way too many people at the same time, and he's trying to book everybody, trying to make everybody look strong. And the fact of the matter is, some people aren't just going to connect. However you book them, however you try to present them, here's the problem, and this is the straight facts. Some people, no matter what you do with them, just are not going to get over because the crowd doesn't give a goddamn about them, no matter how you present them. Karrion Kross might look great, presented great. He has the valet. Maybe the crowd just does not give a damn about this guy because there's something about him that no matter how you do this, and he had a strap match with Drew McIntyre, he had a steel cage match with Drew McIntyre, which were both great. And the fact of the matter is, nobody still gave a damn about Karrion Kross against those two guys. And no matter what you say about Rey Mysterio, he's still somebody that gets over with the crowd because everybody still loves Rey because he's Rey Mysterio. That's why they put him with him, because he's the ultimate babyface, and it's a way to get heel heat on him against somebody like Rey, as you're seeing somebody like Karrion Kross beating the crap out of him night in and night out. Some people just can't get over for some reason, and it's what happens when you bring back 50,000 people at the same time and try to book them all strong, when the fact of the matter is, like Adam just said, you have so many titles, so much time, and you can't get everybody over at the same time. It's just physically impossible. Some people, unfortunately, are going to have to suffer for it. And case in point with the women's division, what woman that they have brought back, or woman in general, has really gotten over besides Bianca, besides Becky, besides Bailey's even gone backwards in a way, Charlotte, even though we all can't stand the way they booked Charlotte, Trish Stratus and Lita are still getting great reactions. The women's division is getting crickets. Every time you see a women's match, it's like you're sitting there and you're waiting for a cricket to chirp because nobody gives a damn about these people. Maybe they just need time for the crowd to understand these people, crowd to get used to them, because it's not the same crowds that were back at NXT. But case in point, you can make somebody look great. You could present them looking great. You could put them with somebody like a valet that everybody's going to be interested in seeing. Sometimes the fans just don't care about these people and just don't know what it is. Just it doesn't resonate with the fans in general. Maybe that's a problem with Karrion Kross. Maybe that's a problem with Hit Row too, which we all agree that I think Hit Row suffered because they don't have a mouthpiece. They don't have a mouthpiece like Swerve Strickland or somebody that can really command that
Hit
group.
Row is just not good.
Over.
Hit Row is just not
because
good.
They have Shane Strickland. They don't have Swerve. He got them over.
But they're just not good. I wouldn't really want to compare them to Karrion Kross.
I'm just like putting it out there.
Good. But he's right. Hit Row is like they're not. They had their. I'm telling you, there was a moment where these teams came up, and if they were booked at that moment, might have gotten the heat that they needed. But because of what's happening and everyone coming back and everyone got to get a spot and trying to fill, how many hours is NXT? 2 hours, right?
2 hours,
2 hours.
So 9 hours of content a week, trying to fit in all these wrestlers and make storylines and do a women's division, right? Back in the Attitude Era, you had like 6 women. That was your women's division, 10 women.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't have as many. Now you have almost a full roster on each side. So now, eventually, I think what's going to happen is they're going to make a women's TV show, WWE Women's Division, on like a Thursday evening. And you're just going to see all the titles go like that. That's eventually what I think is they're moving to, because they have so many women now that they can't even keep the storyline straight, right? You have Ronda Rousey,
tag titles.
Shayna Baszler together. You've got 2 different titles being fought against 2 different things. I think what I do think is if Triple H was smart, he look at the women's division and go, well, they have 2 titles. Roman Reigns has 2 titles. Let's do this so that we can take more of these guys on the roster and make them relevant. Because the more titles you put out there, the more storylines you can have, the better you can make these guys get on TV. When you pigeonhole yourself with guys who have had championships for so long, it just loses its luster because you only see the USA title here, or you only see this title here. And you need to blend the roster a little bit. You can have the draft, make guys able to come on each other's shows. It makes the stories fun. That could jazz it up a bit. Like I said, as much as I love the pay-per-views, the performances are great, but the storylines leading up to those pay-per-views have not been there.
You're not wrong about that. Some of the storylines make no sense. They don't. AEW's got the same problem too. AEW like threw together some of these matches that made absolutely no sense. No storyline build, no nothing, but they just threw them on because they thought it was going to be great matches. So it's both sides. Both sides have had their.
Well, if you deliver on the match, the storyline can be forgotten. But if the WWE hasn't delivered on many matches when they put a hodgepodge of matches together. Right?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, look with Baron Corbin. They can't decide what that guy has. 1 minute he's happy, he's sad, he's got JBL, and now he's like, what are you doing? Like, this guy is always on TV, though, right? I get it. I understand the dynamic of wrestling from the 80s. You need your villains, you need your clowns, and you need your champions. But when you don't allow movement in the roster, and you have to have the same guys on TV every week because you're afraid to lose the eyeballs. Well, I mean, like, I don't like Chad Gabriel, but those guys are kind of funny.
I love Chad Gable. He's so good.
No,
like, so
I think another underrated talent. Another underrated talent, in my opinion.
They make him more of a clown than anything, and I think those guys with Otis could really be a tag team that you could remember, right? They're kind of similar.
Real life best friends too, Adam. Real life best friends too, which makes it even better. Yeah, so real life best friends. So it makes it better dynamic.
Because they're sitting around and eating lunch and dinner together on the road, coming up with these bits, right? And I know that they're similar to Kurt Angle's group that he had with Shelton Benjamin and those guys, and they're trying to play that angle, but you waste that guy's talent. He could be an irritating villain with a championship, right? And you can hate him and love him at the same time. But instead,
thank you.
Shoosh! You know what I'm saying? Like, these things are fun. Imagine if he has a title. And he's like, now, all you people, what made The Miz was putting a title on The Miz. Because his character now becomes more arrogant because he has something over his shoulder to say, look at me. If The Miz doesn't have that guy, he goes by the wayside like Rick the Model Martel, where you're just, hey, there's a guy with a, looks good, whatever, but doesn't do anything. But now you give him the USA title, Intercontinental title, his character can evolve.
Yep. No, you're right. I think Gable should have a championship. He should be in contention for the U.S. title once eventually if they break him away from Otis, which I don't want them to because the tag team division in WWE is terrible right now.
They should be if you're not going to give it, like, the tag division is like, I feel like it's the Viking Raiders and the fucking Blood Usos, but like the Viking Raiders, they're building up, but they don't do anything. It's like, okay, like, what do you now you're putting Sheamus and Drew McIntyre together. Clearly they should win the title because they're both good. And it's just like, this is what I mean. When you have too many titles and too many people and not enough room on TV to put them all, this is what you see.
You said it. That perfect statement you just said at the end, Adam, is the reason why. Too many people signing too many. And they're rumored to be going after people that are supposed to be free agents after WrestleMania, like Jay White, Kenny Omega, the Young Bucks, the bunch of people that might be on their way to WWE. Then what do you do with the people you already have on your roster? You're going to push them to the side too. So sometimes you don't need everybody. You just build up the talent you have on your current roster and try to get them over. It's just going to make things more cluttered.
All right. We got to get ready to wrap things up in a bit, man.
It's a good discussion, by the way. I like that.
Mm-hmm. And before we go, man, I'm just throw a random question out here at you guys. Just random. What's your favorite baseball movie? What is your favorite baseball movie?
I'm not a baseball fan, but I would say this movie really represents to connect. Like, it's just a great movie, and I remember watching it when I was real young. And I'm gonna say Hardball with Keanu Reeves.
I mean, if we're counting basketball, I would say basketball is my favorite.
That's a great movie.
But we're not. So I would say Field of Dreams is probably the one I would go after. Actually, then I would say this one. I grew up on The Natural.
Which was in the outfield. Was kind of good.
Natural was pretty good too.
Screw it. I'm gonna say Major League. I love Major League.
Man, pulling out the old school.
Gotta go with Major League. Come on, man. Charlie Sheen,
Robert
Willie Mays Hayes.
Hitting the fucking home run.
I didn't even think I watched that much baseball movies. Oh, I want to say the
Anybody that
Sandlot.
knows me,
I'm gonna say the Sandlot.
It's another good one.
I love the Sandlot.
anybody that knows me knows that my favorite baseball movie is absolutely Major League. And Sandlot is actually a close second for me. I
The
love
Great
both of those flicks.
Valentino.
I love both of those flicks, man. But Major League, man, I just love everything about that movie. Bob Uecker calling the games, man, out
So
there,
funny.
man.
Wait.
Just the hilarious, just the way when they
I
were
need to
so
go back and watch
bad,
Major
he
League.
was
It's been a
up
while.
in the booth getting drunk, not giving a shit. I mean, it was the guys, the field guys out, the guys that was working out in the field or whatever, just talking shit on the team the entire time. They're still shitty. You know what I mean? Like that everything about Major League was awesome, man. I just love that flick, and it's just the players on the team were just the characters that some of those guys were, man. So
Pedro
that's my favorite.
Serrano. Don't forget about that. Don't forget about Pedro Serrano.
Yeah, that was my favorite baseball movie.
I think
Major
Rookie of
League,
the Year is a
man.
good one too.
I do.
I like Rookie of the Year a
too.
lot as well too. But
And Angels in the
everybody,
outfield.
man,
Yeah.
you guys have any final thoughts on just anything in general you want to get off your chest real quick before we wrap things up?
I just want to take the time to thank our fan base, for why you met us. We took a short hiatus and we was able to come back, and you guys was able to keep us lit in the comments. And thank you guys for taking the initiative to get the Premium Take show back up and running, because I know it's been a while. And I'm gonna pass it over to Jeff. I know he was gonna say a few words.
No, I just want to say thank you guys all for coming by the Premium Take show. Well said, Zion. It's great to be able to do this. We miss doing Premium Takes. We appreciate all you guys' support, and we appreciate you guys wanting to get the show back. We've talked about getting the show back, and this is something we've had the works for a while, and we're just very happy to be able to step back up here and let the Four Horsemen ride once again after a long hiatus during the football season. So we just appreciate every single one of you guys reaching out, talking about missing the podcast, talking about how you guys want to hear the Four Horsemen talk about all sports, wrestling, UFC stuff again. So thank you all, because we wouldn't be doing this if it wasn't for you guys. Mac, Adam?
Well, I'd like to say thank you to them again, because it was really the chatter that we've heard from other parties that really kind of got us going. And I also want to thank you guys for having the enthusiasm to continue to talk about it and continue to want to have this thing grow, right? Without the three of you guys, we're not doing this right now. So I just want to take a moment to say thank you to you guys. You don't always get the roses when you can actually smell them, but you guys were part of this. It's not just me. It's not just Jeff. It's not just Zion. We all collaborated and we all stepped up. It's not me taking the initiative. It was just like, hey, we need to be about it. And we talk about it every time. Every stream we're on, we pass it on. Every text we have, hey, man, Premium Takes. Hey, we're doing this. Well, you know what? Get off the couch, open the laptop, and stream. It's not that hard these days. It's not like we're going to a studio. So, I just want to say again, thank you guys. I enjoy this. I think it shows the diversity to which we want to bring a show where it's not just giant content or just basketball. It's a little bit of everything. And anybody and anyone can listen. So
We'll drop hockey soon enough.
Absolutely agree, man. I want to just say the same thing. Thanks to everyone, man, for tuning in. It's been a great chat, man. You guys really been holding it down. We appreciate it, showing us the love. Been sticking out with us damn near 3 hours. A few of you guys a day. Really, definitely, greatly appreciate it. The Premium Takes podcast will be back in full swing each and every Sunday. Maybe not quite at this same time slot, but we'll work that out. But we will be coming back at you each and every Sunday. The Premium Takes podcast. The Four Horsemen gonna keep in that heat. Y'all believe that. Thank you, NYG, Jeffy T85, Zion Zenith, Adam Costas, and y'all know I'm your boy, Mac the Giants fan, man. This has been the Premium Takes podcast. Pass!